We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Brick Dynasty Live, the #1 show called Brick Dynasty Live. Tonight, our special guest is Chris from Great Brick Lab, a monstrous Bricklink seller, and somebody I think everybody on my radar looks up to because, wow, the uh, the detail you go into explaining everything is just next level and makes my head spin every time, and I love it so much. So thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
so can you take us back a little bit and tell us how this all got started for you? Were you a
Oh,
collector?
sure. Yeah, sure, I can. In 2016, I got married for the second time, and with the support of my wife, she kind of gave me a little spot where I could have Legos, and it was probably cute and funny and nice and amusing. But then I started to get into Lego again and thought I would be building little custom sets and stuff like that, and ended up being quite awful at that. But through the purchase of a few things, I found Bricklink, and that was so. In 2016 is when I discovered Bricklink, and that is really where the entire journey started. Did a few purchases on Bricklink, didn't understand it, definitely made a lot of the common mistakes that people make and filling carts and thinking I'm getting one thing but getting something different. I just got confused about instruction booklets and sets. It was really kind of a confusing interface to me. But quickly realized that there's these guys out there who have stores in their basement, or ladies that have stores in their houses or wherever, and I thought that was pretty amazing. So um, took the courage and opened up my own Bricklink store. Took a section of my basement and kind of cornered it off and said, all right, this is going to be where we're going to do this, and really had no idea what I was doing or what I was getting myself into. Um, I would say I pretty solidly failed at it for 2 years before I really felt like I had a good rhythm to things. Shipping processes, procedures, definitely the logistics of finding parts. I can tell you a story. The first time I loaded parts, I just left the sets in bags and said that this set, this bag, and just kind of consolidated everything with Bricklink's consolidation feature. And I had a guy buy all of my black pins, and I had to go through every single bag looking for black pins. I must have spent 7 hours looking for black pins, and I was like, okay, so that was it. That was one of my major failures. So another funny story about in the early years, I didn't even know the difference between light gray and light bluish gray. Didn't know there was a difference. And I had a customer who contacted me, and he gave me so much grace, and he goes, listen, I can see you're a new seller, and you've made a common mistake that, light gray, light bluish gray, and I only work in light bluish gray, and you sent me some light gray stuff. Here's the ones that are light gray. Take the time to look through this and send me everything, and here's how you find the difference. And take your time and get me what you can and refund me what you can't find in light bluish gray. And about 2 weeks later, so I take care of him and I give him a refund. And 2 weeks later, I get this package from this guy. It must have been 5 pounds of light gray parts that he just didn't want anymore. And that was just kind of the greatest thing ever. I got more money out of the parts that he sent me than he ever spent, or that I refunded him and what he spent with me. So it was such a value, but it was just that kind of an attitude of the community of Bricklinkers that really is encouraging me, even though I was failing, even though I was doing really bad at it, I would say in my own judgment call. But there was so much grace and patience and willingness. That's back in the days when Chris or Clutch from uh, Bricks on the Dollar. That's when he had all of his videos up. I must have watched every single one of his videos just 10 times over, trying to learn everything that he was teaching people back in those days. So, yeah, but that's how I got started. And there's more parts to it that maybe we'll get into, but that was the early days.
Wow. So back then, you had a lot less software to work with and whatnot as well. So you were basically just in Bricklink. doing all your work, right?
Well, Brick Store was around back then. It was, yeah.
Oh,
So, well, it was Brick Stock.
okay.
Somebody had taken Brick Store, kind of recoded it, called it Brick Stock, and we still have some things, folders labeled as Brick Stock. So we did have Brick Stock, but yeah, no, it was not as easy to work with as it is today by a long mile, a long distance. Um, Yes, so there was no brick ignite. We were doing all the part identifications. I had to learn all the colors. Yeah, there wasn't nearly as many tools as there is today to do it. We were also, this was before, I don't know when I started doing that free sync tool, which is Brick Sync. I discovered that, and that was a really nervous time for me, turning on Brick Sync and syncing up with Brick Owl. That was nerve-wracking on my part because I didn't understand that at all, and I think I screwed it up a couple of times and messed up my whole inventory.
That's scary. So, okay, so you were a couple years in before you started to figure it out. At what point did you feel like you hit your stride and you wanted to really blow up your store, or did that just kind of happen naturally?
Well, yeah, it's part of it is natural. When I guess when you say blow up our store, it's like just the continued encouragement and earning the right to just keep growing the business part of things. Um, I would say, well, the one thing I will add in those early years, before I started bringing in additional help, is I was always making money. And it may have not been a lot of money, but it wasn't like I was losing money all the time. I didn't have great sourcing for Lego. Um, yeah, but I was always making money and I was always feeling encouraged to keep doing it. I finally started figuring out how to source the Lego and ended up with more inventory that I was going to be able to process on my own. And I tried doing a lot of it by myself in those first 2 years. There was a point, probably just about the 2 year mark, where it became a real wedge between me and my wife, and I actually shut down for 3 months to try and figure things out because she was just not happy with how much time I was spending with the business, and she felt like she kind of got a bad deal being married to me, and I'm spending all my time with my business. So as my way of showing that I was committed to it, I shut down for 3 months, and she gave me, after 3 months of working on our marriage, reopened the store, and through a lot of prayer and a lot of asking for help, we started to find people that came to us and said that they wanted to help me do some of the raw materials processing.
Wow.
And I'd say by the end of the third year, I probably had about 5 people sorting parts for me, and I didn't even know what that was at the time. We were kind of making it up as we were going along. But you asked the question about when did we really hit our stride. I would think that we really hit our stride as far as procedures, processes, solidly understanding what to do in almost every situation when the pandemic hit. And I actually brought in additional help because the orders were coming in so fast I couldn't keep up. And a friend of mine lost his job because of the pandemic, and he came in to be a help to us. You remember from my old videos, I brought in Kyle. Um, Kyle was awesome and exactly what we needed at the time. He has since moved on and up into more, better things for himself. But man, it was critical time for us growing and understanding, okay, how do I manage people? How do I teach them the things that they need to do? Because they're going home. My store is still down in the basement, and I don't want to spend my time down there. I have to delegate things. So that's when it really started to be able to grow.
Wow. So it sounds like the business just kind of you started the business, and then the business kind of had its own life and evolved on its own. There wasn't, okay, that's cool. I would have thought there was just a day where it's like, okay, well, I'm enjoying this, so I'm just going to make it full scale. It just did its own thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we were just continued to be encouraged. There was times when I took an entire porch behind my house. It's the room right behind me over here. I cleaned out the whole porch And in less than a year, I had 5 shelves of back warehouse inventory that wasn't part of our catalog of available parts, but I had more people processing parts to cataloged and giving me brick stock files at that time of cataloged inventory. So that, and we still actually are still processing that backlog. I mean, that was like
Wow.
4 million parts of backlog that before I finally said no more of this. And I'm done doing it that way. Now the people who do it go directly to drawers from home. But yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, we need space here. Okay, do take out an area of a porch and make the whole thing Lego. Oh, I have another bedroom in the basement, and I'm going to take an entire bedroom and turn it into another office for the house. I mean, it just kind of growed and grow, and it just grew. And then, yeah, some weekends I'd be here working, redesigning the shelving system in the store to create more efficiency, and they would come in Monday, and I'd have worked all weekend rebuilding the entire store. I think I did that twice.
Unreal. And okay, so it grew that fast. And were you adjusting like every portion of the business because it was scaling so fast? It's like, okay, well, I guess people were doing sorting for you, but you must have had to adjust exactly how you were verifying all of the work that they were doing. And
Yeah.
if you're adding it in that fast, you have to ship a lot faster, right?
Yes. Yeah. If you, man, if you've been tracking me for years, and I think some of the videos are still out there, I used to import orders to Brickstock and create multi-order pick sheets through Brickstock. Those were wild days. You're recalling, making me recall things. Yeah, before things like Brick Freedom or Bricker, and then I think there was even other ones before those guys were even really mainstream, or we were willing to pay the money for them. We were just doing Brick Sync and manually creating brick stock sheets that we printed on clipboards and walked around our store picking orders, multiple orders at the same time. I mean, I feel like we were like the founders of multi-order picking. Bricklink had some kind of multi-order picking, but it just didn't work the way we wanted it to work. It wouldn't organize, and it wouldn't let you know where you were at on your sheet and which ones went into which tub. It was not clean at all. And I think they still have something. I kind of still feel like it wouldn't work. So we kind of wrote our own, and I think there's still a reference on Brick Store of how I did that. Because I did it, I had to backdoor the system. I backdoored the printing module on Brick Stock, and then it transferred over to Brick Store, and there's still a reference to the creation of that ability to do multi-order. Now you can do multi-order picking built right into Brick Store. If you download multiple orders, it'll build you a pick sheet with color coding and all these other things. So they just kind of took off with that idea. But when you talk about like, so the operational things of how things are running, like, yes, so it was times that we were like, okay, the drawer labeling doesn't work. We need to relabel our drawers. I thought we would be done with that, but we're doing it again. We're relabeling all of our drawers for like the fourth time, which I am so frustrated with, but it was an absolute necessity to scale. I finally think I've got one where we can scale. If we have to relabel again, I'm telling you right now, I'd rather just close, sell everything, liquidate my inventory, and start over, because there's going to be so much inventory in this next. If we have to relabel again, because we're gonna, with this last remodel. I don't know if you've seen any of my recent videos and the new walls that we have. I'm thinking we're going to achieve 4 million in our current space that we have. 5 million would be pushing it quite a bit, but I think comfortably we'll hit 4 million. And my new operations manager is telling me that he's already got ideas of how he wants to expand the space, and I'm like, I don't want to do it, so I'm going to quit. You're going to be doing it, and I'm done, because that's too much. And he's going to have to hire his picking team, because right now they have to walk 40 to 50 feet on the pick path. They got to go back and forth. You know, no, it's 100 feet. I apologize. I calculated that wrong in my head. It's up to 100 feet of walking every order that they pick. So when they go out to the pick floor and they do a picking, they're walking up to 100 feet. It's 25 each end of the building. It's 25. So if you count a turn, maybe you get a few extra feet. But yeah, it's 25 feet one way, and there's 4 paths. So roughly 100 feet per pick. And if he keeps expanding it, every time you expand a new row, you add another 25 feet of picking. And I mean, people wear out. I mean, the padded floor we added was nice, but I just don't know that he's gonna have to hire the right kind of people to pick those orders.
My God, 100 feet per. That's insane. How many orders are you doing a day these days?
Not many.
No.
Okay, so through a strategy that I'm not going to share, but right now, like last month, we were just hit it as hard as we can. July and June and July, we were like, let's see what we can do. My team came to me and said, we have some people who want to work here, younger, one of them in high school, or one of them just starting high school, another one second year of college, going into second year of college, but they both have their summers available and they both want to come work. They're family members of people from church or people who work there. And they all say they want work. And I'm like, well, in order for them to have enough hours because all they want to do is pick orders. And the current picker we have, the full-time picker that we have, she wants to continue to pick at that time. So I was like, all right, let's see how hard we can hit it. And we were, I could tell you the exact number here. In July, I think it was close to 800 orders for the month and about that many for June. I'm going to pull up Bricker here while we're on the call here, and I'll look those numbers up. But this month, the labor is about the middle of the month here. 5 days ago, my extra labor disappeared. So we kind of started sloping down the amount of orders that we were going to get. And the easiest way to do that is basically let your prices go back up. And if you're familiar with Bricker has all kinds of ways of formulating it so it can kind of do it slowly or you can do things quickly. Yeah, so we're only at 290 orders for this month. It was 809 in July. And in the month of June, it was 873.
Wow. So, okay. So still, like, being a little under 300 and you have one full-timer picking orders?
Right. Yeah. Right now we're getting about maybe between 5 and 10 orders per day. Right now we're pretty low.
Okay.
But the end of the month, I'm expecting the end of the month to look different. I've got a little thing I'm going to do. So the end of the month could look a lot different. The one part about my strategy that I will share is labor is very difficult to bring in and then tell them we may or may not have work for you. And if we don't have work, sorry. And if we do have work, I need you. So it's like the worst conundrum that you can have is telling somebody, I need you when I need you, but when I don't need you, don't come around because I don't have nothing for you to do. So we're going to see if we can kind of create little waves of work for people and saying, okay, maybe this time frame, please be available if you can to help us out for the picking. Or if they can't be available, then our team has to just basically step up, and then maybe things will kind of tick down a little bit and we can get caught up, because that's the worst thing. When we were doing June and July, we did not meet a lot of our delivery deadlines. That was kind of a sad thing. We have a 4-day delivery time, and a lot of customers didn't make it in that 4-day time frame, and we did get some emails. We sent coupons. We did a lot of things to accommodate people who were not happy with us meeting those delivery times and doing everything we can to kind of make up for us not being able to handle the workload that was coming in.
Mm-hmm. So, because your store is the size it is,
mm-hmm.
When you plan these changes, do you plan them based on the situation that your business is in, or do you base them also on time of year? summer slowdown, convention seasons, things like that.
Hmm. So, you want to hear something funny? I know he's watching. Um, Ben from Beehive Brick Store is a really good friend of mine. Enjoy him and Ralph's company quite a lot. And he reminded me of a video that I did with Just a Brick in the Bucket when we moved into our warehouse. And I think it was that video. It was definitely something I did with him. I don't know if DNA Bricks was there or not. I don't remember that part. But they basically, I told them what I was going to do. I said, I'm going to one day do something that's going to sweep the market of all sales, and just because I can. And they were like, well, if you do that, the other people aren't going to get orders. And I was just kind of like, probably. And Ben was like, you said this was part of your strategy like years ago. And I was like, oh, that's right, I did. Well, maybe we're ready. Maybe this is the year we're ready. So I mean, our price, the way we got all the orders is I let the prices go to 6-month average, maybe a hair over 6-month average. We made a lot less margin than we would have typically made because of it. But the volume of sales and the revenues that came in are like 3 times my first, like 2 years. It was
Wow,
not. It was nuts. It was a great achievement. So yeah.
that's bananas. Just thinking of, I mean, I mean, power is a weird word for it, but yeah, I suppose to be able to just like, I'll just take all of those sales for right now. Thank you.
Yeah, so for other stores that are watching, I apologize if your summer maybe was a little lackluster. I'm not saying I'm responsible for that, but based on what happened, you guys, if you blamed me, I would not say that's inappropriate. I don't know when I'll do it again, and I probably won't tell anybody. But yeah, I mean, okay, so what I do is not secret, right?
Yep.
Good logistics, being able to upload parts, timing the market. Um, I mean, there's all kinds of risks in what we did. So if, don't feel threatened, be challenged, is what I would
Yep.
say. Take the challenge and bring it to the table. Because competition breeds more, innovation. It thrives. Yeah. So that's what I would tell people, anybody who's saying, how dare you do what you did, but bring it to the table. And if you actually wanted to talk to me and talk strategy, I mean, I enjoy these kind of conversations. I think every Bricklink store that makes effort to be a better Bricklink store brings a better experience to all customers, and all of us
Yep.
benefit from that experience from those customers.
Yep. Sure. So okay, so you put yourself to around 6 month sales average. Were you selective with that, or did you just put the whole store down there?
Okay, so that's a great question. Um, I was. And that's so the timing was right because of Bricker. Okay, so Bricker has a lot to do with the timing of this. Bricker, I will say, it's quite a bit more expensive. It's 10 times more expensive than we were paying for what we were paying from Brick Freedom. More than that, more than 10 times. And the Bricker formula, they have an ability to create a formula that helps say, all right, this price based on these variables, how many parts are in the market, what's the 6-month average, what's the highest sold price in the last 6 months. That data points, all those the data statistics, I created a pretty complex formula with them. So no, not all of them were 6-month average. But what we did is we went down to closer to that, and some parts were more, some parts were less, based on that formula that I created, which is kind of like the secret sauce of what I'm doing right now. But because of the formula, because of the labor that we had, because of the ramped up inventory levels that we had, is what we were able to achieve. That's why we were able to do it. And the sad thing on that is now is because that can become pretty addictive. Those kind of sales levels and stuff like that. And I'm grateful that I'm not being greedy about it, because I kind of would like to see the team do it again. I don't need it for myself, but they were so encouraged by what we were able to accomplish, but also a little burned out, a little bit worn out. The number of hours they had to put in to get that accomplished was intense. But now it's kind of like, all right, how can I repeat this, but don't burn them out, but also kind of keep things at a high pace like that for their benefit. So, because if we keep doing that, then the business keeps growing and it keeps moving forward.
That's going to be agonizing for an extended period of time, though. I just keeping that up. I mean, if you were to do that for 6 months or so, I mean, even your best people would have to be suffering, right?
Yeah.
But I love the idea of being able to juggle your sales based just on pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I think we just broke 80,000 parts. We don't have that ability because we're not getting enough sales to warrant that much fluctuation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting around 50% above 6 months because I don't want to put the effort in to pull a $9 order and spend an hour on it because we're not the most organized on earth yet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's 2 million plus parts.
Is that where we're at right now? I haven't even looked in a while.
Yeah. I think last I saw was somewhere right about the 2 million mark, and
okay,
that's a lot to be sitting low. You know, I can't even imagine 800 sales a month. That's intense. Like the workload.
Yeah, and we don't work on Sunday. So sometimes, and our labor is reduced on Saturday. So sometimes you're coming in on a Monday and you're like, how am I going to pick 40 orders today?
Yeah.
That's just one of our people saying that, how am I going to do 40 orders? The other ones are saying, how am I going to do, 20 of the big orders? And,
Yeah. And those orders, I would imagine quite a few of them are sizable orders. You're not getting, 13 parts in an order for 800,
Yeah, and we're by no means perfect. The customer service actually was ramped up as well. I'd say 1 out of every 10 had some kind of a need. A customer, not getting exactly what they were ordering, maybe a poor quality part or something like that. But everybody got response. Well, I hope all my customers got a good response from us. With that many coming in, I would regret that if anybody fell through the cracks and we weren't able to take care of them well. But that was also something that ramped up as well. So we were busy on both ends, going out and then coming back for more assistance after the order.
Well, I mean, for the people who aren't familiar with your store, I suggest they take a look. I mean, your store is linked in the description here, and you're at, was it 99.47%? I think you were at over.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good.
13,000 reviews. That is insane. That doesn't happen naturally. That happens with effort.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for saying so. Yeah, we still take it very seriously. Whenever we get a negative, I mean, I would do anything to help somebody not put a negative on our store. Not necessarily just to avoid the negative, but to make sure that they're happy with what they did. I would give a full refund to somebody, or say, send it back to us and let us know what's going on with this stuff. Because, I mean, I don't want you to walk away with a bad taste in your mouth from what you got from us. That's not my goal at all. I will say some customers are pretty difficult to keep in a happy place, but I think they brought that on their own, not necessarily us. But if they're my customer, then it's my responsibility to do what I can to help them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the truth is in the numbers there. I mean, that shows pretty clearly.
Mm.
It's they say you can't please all the people all the time, but that's damn near all of them. And it's hard. I mean, some things we spent like 10 minutes with zooming in on the back of minifigure arms last night.
Hmm.
Were the pearl gray arms. I couldn't for the life of me tell if they were cracked. And finally, I brought in the wife
Yeah,
to kind of like click at it to tell. It was just, I'm pretty sure it was just the little swirl in the
yeah,
back,
it is. It is that,
but I
and
wasn't confident.
yeah, no, dark pearl gray and pearl gold. Just the way that the resin kind of comes into the mold,
Mhm.
because it's not a solid color. It's kind of got that little changes in color to it. Yeah, that happens all the time. Yep, we do the same thing. Um, the team, I will say my team does a better job at the picking than me. They're actually checking every minifig go out the door. If you get a pick done by me, I'm gonna say the quality has been already done. It's time to ship this out. Sometimes customers will say that I didn't like my arms or there's something like that. If it's me and I'm just gonna ship them new arms. I've shipped so many arms out. Um, you know.
So, what do you do if they say, "Okay, my arm's cracked. You ship them new arms," and then the torso cracks when they try to switch them?
That's the risk that they take, the replacing those arms. I would say that, you know, uh, I can't recall any customer coming to me and saying, "You sent me new arms and I cracked the torso when I took it apart." I can't recall, but I suppose if that did happen, um, that I would do everything I could just to get him a new torso. Um,
Mhm.
you kind of lament if it's like a $25 torso and they try and crack that apart. Hopefully they're trying to be careful. But if that did happen, I mean, we've done that before. We act something. There's some kind of a stormtrooper that for some reason is worth like crazy amount. I can't remember which one it is. Um, and we sent it was they've been being cracked too. We had three of them that were cracked because the customer said the one I got was cracked. I went and looked at two more of them, and they were both cracked as well. And I ended up pulling apart a full minifig to give him a good torso. But the
Wow.
torso, just the torso is like $75. I can't remember which one it is. It's some kind of a desert trooper or something. I can't even remember the name. I'm not really good on the names.
Ralph is saying Captain Rex. Wasn't the one of the Munbine troopers, however you say it? or-
I think it's one from like a battle pack or something. I can't remember. Captain Rex, I definitely know is worth a lot of money, but
Yeah,
um, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
I used to get really excited when we found expensive minifigs. Those days are kind of just gone. It's about volume. It's about good sales. It's about making sure customers get good quality parts. I am not trying to corner the market on minifigs or expensive sets or anything like that. We just have good volume.
Yeah. Now, are you just on Bricklink and Brick Owl? Are you doing
Yes.
any eBay? Wow.
Now I tried eBay. Um, One of the what I consider to be a perk of moving over to or starting my inventory system with Bricker was eBay. And it didn't even take a week before I was on eBay before I realized that it just doesn't integrate well with the Lego customer type of the people that are on Bricklink and Brick Owl. Um, I was getting questions, immediately. Why? What? I was using stock photos. I wasn't taking original photos of like sets, and they wanted to see the actual set. And then other customers are saying your prices are too high. Well, I do get that question or a comment every once in a while on Bricklink, um, that my prices are too high. But it didn't even take a week before I realized that eBay is just not a good fit for us. There was a second part to eBay not being a good fit for us. Um, we do a pretty good job of standing out on Bricklink, and Brickowl somewhat as well, just based on availability of our parts,
Mhm.
and the selection. But that availability and that selection really only works because people have these want lists as they've created, and they say, "All right, find me a store that has these want lists." Well, that's not a feature of eBay. Um, and in order for us to stand out on eBay, we really kind of have to pay for that. You kind of have to pay for the standing out on eBay, and they have all kinds of ways for you to help yourself stand out on eBay. So in the 2 weeks that I did eBay when I was on with Bricker, I spent twice as much on standing out and getting my store recognized by people on eBay than I made on eBay. So shut down eBay pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of people. Well, it's was it Derek sells on there? I think I
Hmm.
don't know if Ralph still is. He was at one point, I believe,
Hmm.
if I remember right. It it's a lot more work. I mean,
It
it's
is. If you integrate it to your workflow, like Pops has his workflow, it just kind of cycles with the eBay parts of his business, and he does it. Um, I personally would rather play the long game, and just let it ride on Bricklink until the right customer comes looking for it, and they need a combination of other parts. Um, that's my preference right now. Like I said, I was excited about eBay. I thought, 80 million customers that are on eBay as opposed to the 2 million that are shopping Bricklink. That's a lot more potential. But yeah, it also changed. It was changing well, it would have changed the dynamic about how we pick, how we grab parts, what's expected from us. Another revenue or another source of like dealing with customer service type issues, another fee structure that we're dealing with from eBay fees. Yeah, I decided it wasn't worth it because unless it like brought in the same amount that Bricklink or Brick Owl could do, I just didn't see it was worth the effort.
have you ever thought about the for okay, so you said you still have a ton of overflow inventory, whatnot that you haven't got to. Have you ever thought of using eBay or I don't know, even Marketplace or something like that to do bulk sales of that stuff?
Hmm. Yeah, we've done that. Um, we did that a little bit. I was selling plants by the ounce for like $20 an ounce, and I was telling tires at like half a pound for like $25 per half pound or something like that. Um, and I tried a few other categories. Those seemed to be the ones that actually were worth the amount of work. What I was doing is, so we have people that sort from home from us, and one of their categories is plants, one of the categories is tires. Um, I would rather still play the long game. It didn't bring in enough that made it worth it. Um, it was nice to have, the kind of like the connection and know that eBay is still there and it's available for us. But when you're selling half a pound of tires for, let's say, $25, that same half pound cataloged and in drawers is probably going to net me $250. But
Yeah.
you just have to wait for those customers to come and need those individual bits.
Mhm.
The same thing with plants or other parts. Um, I would say if I was strapped with debt and I was also short on storage space, that yes, I would probably move inventory. Or if my focus was just minifigs, if I was buying bulk, selling just the minifigs, and I didn't want to have a large warehouse for all these logistical locations and parts, that maybe if my focus was different, that would make sense. Um, but because, we've built in the drawer systems, we've built in the picking system, we've got the software, we've got all the pieces to just play the long game and let the parts sit until it comes time to be processed, put into a drawer, and shipped out to a customer through a sale. Just wait it out.
It's a good one from Ralph. I remember you had a customer that complained that they didn't get four of the same tires in one of those bulk sales on eBay.
I do remember that.
Uh,
And then yes, they said I got all these tires, but none of them. I don't even have four of the same to build something. So when I started every order after that of tires that I got, I was actually like, okay, four of this one, four of this one, the rest of it, whatever. But that was hilarious. I was like, it's bulk tires. You get what you get. But I guess he was expecting, he had some expectation in his mind, and I'm glad he communicated it because who else had that expectation that didn't just communicate it? So that was fun.
that's, yeah, I guess it would never even occur to me that that wouldn't just happen naturally.
Oh no, we have so much.
Yeah,
When I'm
yeah,
pulling tires out of a tub of 45 pounds of tires, I'm just grabbing them by the handfuls and dropping them in.
yeah, yeah. You would think some of the more common ones would just naturally you'd get four of something,
You know
I
what I should have
guess.
told that customer? I was like, you should buy more tires. The solution is to buy more, not to tell me that you don't have enough. You just don't have enough tires yet.
Yeah, yeah. Shit, maybe I should try that. That's the one. So we haven't listed any tires yet. We haven't.
Oh,
We
what are
haven't
you
got that
doing?
far.
Oh,
Uh,
no, you need to list tires. Oh, please get tires listed. Tires, plants, tiles. These are the things that are going to bring in your sales. Print parts, man, spend 6 months on print parts. You'll never look back. You'll always get sales with print
okay.
pieces.
Yeah, those I'm working on. We do have most of our plants listed. No tires yet. Tires are stored in a different room. They're kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, they're
And
horrific. They are horrific.
yeah,
Even with the best tool that we could have ever seen in Lego cataloging, Bricklink, you're still going to be looking at it and be like, what tire is this? Because it's like it looks like the small version, but I think that's the big version I got a picture of
yeah,
up here. So you gotta read them. Yeah, and then we actually, this is so bad. We had a guy that was doing sorting for us, and he wanted to try something different. We sent him with 3 tubs of tires. He came back with them all sorted, showed me the pictures of how it took over his whole house, because he took every tire and separated them to every tub. So 3 tubs, that's like 150 pounds worth of tires. He quit. He never came back to work for us again. Yeah, we
wow,
completely wore him out.
yeah. It's some of that stuff is an adventure. So it's Ralph saying he told me to do the print pieces. So I have done a bunch. What has slowed me down is all of the easy stuff has gotten listed right away. I mean, I do it in sessions, so I'll do all the easy stuff as fast as I can, and then the things that are crooked need some effort get set aside for later, and then I just eventually take a little bit of time and peel them apart. But that's very time consuming, and this is so very part time. It's
Okay,
I'm at it
that was going to be my
maybe an
next
hour a day
question.
myself.
Yeah, is this
Yeah,
if this is part-time for you, then you're trying to do it and have
yeah,
fun while doing it still.
yeah. It's so I work on it maybe an hour a day on average.
Hmm.
My wife puts a couple hours a day in. Thank God, she's a champ. But it's still very part time.
Okay.
It's and it's going to continue to be very part time until we get it to a point where I can scale back other things.
So, I would tell you that if it wasn't for my career that I had before I got laid off in, well, just about a year ago now, if I didn't do that first, I probably wouldn't be doing this full time.
Yeah,
I gotta have the backing of my financial portfolio that I created working 25 years in a career in order to really kind of do this full time. Last month and the month before in June, I could make a living off of doing it if we could keep that pace. But we shipped out near 400 pounds. If I'm shipping out 400 pounds in a month, I've got to be adding 400 pounds a month in order to keep that pace. I I don't know how to do that. I don't have the people to do that. I can't do that by myself. I can't. There's not enough hours in the day.
yep,
So, and the more people I bring in, the more of my, revenues that are coming in, the more sales are coming in, are going also to those individuals because they want to be compensated for their work.
for sure.
I'd say going full time doing this, it takes good strategy. Not just more volume, not just more drawers, not just more work. It takes a strategy that works. People that trust you to get their orders on time. And now I don't need to worry about buying inventory. Um, I still like to buy inventory. I still have fun buying inventory. I have, in no uncertain terms, been told to stop buying inventory because we don't want to have more inventory stored that won't be processed for up to 10 years or more. I would say we probably have 20 years worth of inventory. So I've been told to stop, but I secretly will not stop because I just have too much fun buying Lego. Um, and it's like stock. I mean, if people put their money in the stock market, I put my money in both Lego and the stock market. I see them basically as the same investment, medium, with both of them having a certain level of risk. The stock market is no guarantees that you're going to make money, and also the Lego market is no guarantee that you're going to make money.
Yeah. Stopping buying inventory seems almost like an impossible task. I mean, not just because it's fun, but if you see what you have go out the door, if your unsorted inventory is not in line of sight, then it just feels like you're running low just by watching things go out the door. That, or maybe that's the mental game I've been playing with myself. We have another 300 or 400 pounds that we haven't even brought into the house yet, and 1,000 drawers we haven't added in. We're chipping away at.
Well, it sounds like you're doing this part-time and you have some life balance that you're trying to maintain as well.
No, I just have 11 other irons in the fire. I have no life balance. No, I have a lot of enthusiasm and very little direction.
Okay.
Yeah, I just like to work on many, many things. All right. It's stopping sourcing. That one's going to mess with me a little bit. That seems crazy. Okay. So we'll skip sourcing because we kind of covered that. So you have people go and sort for you and bring it to you, and it's already in files. So you just need to check and put the file in. Is all you have to do with that?
Yes, some of our more experienced and seasoned individuals have the trust of us that they will actually take home an entire cabinet of Acro Mills drawers that are already barcoded, and they'll bring that back. They'll put the drawers away themselves, and they will also submit a Brickstore file of all that cataloged inventory.
Wow. Okay. That's
Right.
a lot of trust.
That is, and they're not perfect. Neither am I perfect. My drawers that I catalog from home, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting at the desk where I do my work from home cataloging. I'm not perfect. I make a great number of mistakes. But our strategy on dealing with those mistakes is pretty solid. If we don't have a part, we take care of that customer, we communicate with them. You get some blowback and be like, that part was the reason I ordered from your store. I just added a few extra things to make sure I hit your minimum without, trying to get your buy under code. And so when you hear a message like that, you're like, all right, so now I'm going to be the one to source this if I can source it for you. I have a recent experience with this one where we cataloged a brown cup. I actually have one of the cups right here. So this cup right here comes in brown, and it's uncommonly rare. We claimed that we had one in brown. We did not have one in brown. And the team, my operations manager came to me and said, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I haven't sourced anything for a while. Let's try this. And so I thought it would be easy, but no, I'm going overseas. Finding that's the only location that had it. We were the only one in the US that had it at that time. Of course, then we really didn't have it. So I've sourced it overseas, and I hope that it gets here in a timely manner but the customer's response was he was jumping up and down. I visualized this guy jumping up and down and saying, "You guys are so amazing. I am never going to shop with them." This is what he wrote to us. "I'm never shopping at any other store ever again. You guys went so far above and beyond to take care of me because we refunded him the part. We're going to ship it to him for free. We're taking care of him, and we're doing all the work that he would have to do for himself. He just has to be patient with us." Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. That's from overseas. That's real effort.
I have no problem buying overseas. I've been maybe burned a couple of times. Sometimes I do it just on purpose to see how they do their packaging, what's up with these stars. I didn't realize it, but one of the stores I've been buying for recently overseas is like one of the top 10 stores, which is like fun to buy from. I didn't even know that.
Top 10 stores like across the board.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredibly big. Holy shit. Yeah, I cannot understand.
I was going to
creating
actually kind of
that.
add a little bit of color to the sourcing conversation. If you're struggling with sourcing, so when you say you're struggling with sourcing and stopping to buy sourcing, what I will say is I think there's a unlimited supply for everybody who wants to buy Lego just inside the United States. Nobody ever gets rid of their Lego. I mean, how many grandparents have you ran into that said, "I'm saving the Legos for my grandchildren"? That are
Yeah.
the kids' Legos when they were in the house, but I'm not letting them have them because I want the grandkids to have them. They don't go around saying, I saved the Star Wars figures or the G.I. Joes or sometimes maybe the Hot Wheels, but very often the one that they're saving for the grandkids is the Legos. Like every time, or maybe it's just because I'm the Lego guy, they tell me that. I don't know, maybe I'm a little tainted, but I hear that all the time. So their Legos just don't disappear. They kind of just keep recycling in the system. So when your cash flow is good and it's time to buy some inventory, just buy it. You don't have to like always look for the right deal. Just wait till it's the right time to buy it. Sometimes the deal might be good, but the time is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I came into my last lot. My mother hit me up and said, "Hey, it's one of my friends. Her husband passed away. He was a bit of a hoarder. She's going to sell all of his Lego. Do you want it?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's
She
one of
said it
those.
was not 900 pounds. It was closer to 5, but
Wow.
it was still a pretty good deal.
Yeah, those are the kind of deals that are just kind of if you can pull the capital together. I've done that a couple of different times, so I know what that deal is like. You just hate to see that one go away.
Yep. Yeah. I couldn't walk away from that. And he was definitely a hoarder. Some of it was fairly ugly. It's taken work to get through some of it, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of it's old, which is nice. All right. So actually, thinking of hoarders and dirty stuff, how do you handle washing and drying your parts?
Mesh bags, big tubs, lots of soap, lots of rinsing. I did plates recently in a washing machine. That actually worked out really well. A dishwashing machine that worked out really, really well. But yeah, I've got a video. We basically haven't changed since I did that video like 4 or 5 years ago. Same
Oh,
thing. It's
okay.
not much changed. But the one thing that we do different now is we just toss a lot more Lego.
Yep.
If we don't like it, and that's not worth my time to clean it. A 1x2 reddish brown brick, I just drop it in a bucket,
Yep.
get rid of it, let it go.
Okay.
That's one thing that I really do differently.
Okay. All right. So you haven't moved to the washing machine or anything like that.
I don't do a clothes washing machine. No, dishwasher is what we do. We thought about putting a washing machine in the warehouse, but there was no really good location to put it in there. Yeah. After our Lego goes through its first phase of with people, it comes back in pretty good condition. If they come back and say, "Here's this dirty Lego that we didn't want to put our hands into," then we're like, look through it and see if there's anything valuable in it. And if it's just a couple of pounds, we actually kind of just dismiss it and get rid of it.
Okay. All right. Well, good. That makes me feel a little bit better about my process because we use the garment bags for basically everything. Works out pretty
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, no, mesh bag or double mesh bag. If probably, I know some people do like a triple mesh bag when they go through a washing machine. But no, just soak it into a tub of, even just cool water, does a lot to get that dirt and grime off those Legos.
Yep. It's amazing how dirty some of those things get, and Play-Doh and kinetic sand and bugs. Man, that's weird.
Oh, we have
Uh,
found things you might not believe. Yeah. We one of the funnest ones we found is we find teeth in some
oh,
Legos. Human teeth, shark teeth one time.
wow. That's crazy. That
You know,
that is not on our bingo card here.
one time I found an Apple Watch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have found a GoPro.
Wow. Did it
Yeah. I
work?
found, yeah, it worked. Found a Nintendo DS one time. Uh, let's see. We found that a Roman coin. Turned out it was just a replica. Uh, I was thinking of another one that we found. Oh, I found a USB stick with Windows 10 on it at that time. We were still doing Windows 10, so I used that to all my Windows 10 machines at that time. So, yeah, it was nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's just the tip of the things that we have found. When you buy as much bulk as we buy, there's nothing off limits to what you're going to find.
Yeah, I guess not. Ralph says he just finds bullet casings.
Oh, yeah, we found plenty of bullets. We have found plenty of bullets.
What is this?
Uh,
Oh, Brick Vibe. The best deals usually come at the wrong time. I just bought 14 pallets of Lego the other day.
yeah.
My God.
Yeah, the logistics of moving 14 pallets of Lego is a real problem. I mean, you got to have a lot of really good logistics. And when he's buying these 14 pallets, I mean, I have a lot of admiration for his process. You're not going to sit on 14 pallets of Lego for very long. You put some money into that, you want to get a return on that quickly. So you got to ramp up labor, you got to ramp up procedures. You know, you don't want a pallet of Lego sitting very long when you have that many of them going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just the space that occupies is just insane.
But if you build your strategy around that kind of, doing that kind of business, Brick Vibe is a perfect example. If you were to go to his shop, I haven't been there yet. I definitely want to go. Um, if we were to look at them, we'd be like, I don't get it. I don't get how you do this. How do you make this work? And he's looking at me and he goes, nah, it would work for us. We couldn't do it. I mean, everybody's so unique, and that's a great thing about this whole business is that these strategies are all around the same product, but they can be completely different of how you do it.
Yeah. That's part of what makes it so exciting and why,
Yeah.
it's YouTube is a wonderful thing. It's if everybody had the same channel, was doing the same thing, it'd be boring, but keeps it interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay. So basically coming up on my list here anyway. You've
Yeah.
talked a lot about sorting machines.
Mm-hmm.
How's the evolution of thought going there? You still
Mm.
thinking it's going to be a thing? Can you
Uh,
talk about that publicly? If not,
no, there's
I understand.
nothing secret yet, but I don't have any secret development going on that nobody knows about. I'm not very good at secrets anyways. Um, what I will tell you is, because you asked it good, you phrased the question well. What is my thought on the development of it, right?
Yep.
It's changed over the
Okay.
years. What I see a robot doing well is not the same as what I was looking at 2 years ago when we had our first prototype machine that was built called Big Robot. And I think there's just a few videos. There's lots of videos about the building of it, but there's not too many of them of a complete build. We had it dropped off. We never actually got it working. It was very prototype. But the what you do, what you ask the machine to do, has to be built into your strategy.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you have no strategy right now, and it's just you breaking apart parts, and you expect to just give those machines to that parts and get us an output that you're expecting, I don't think it works.
Yep.
If what are you expecting the machine to do? Because if you don't have a machine that's built in part of your strategy, and that's what we're doing right now, I'm redesigning our raw materials processing to include a strategy of a robot. If it doesn't include the robot, then really I kind of feel like you actually have a robot that costs you more and does less, and you still have to have a lot of people feeding it.
Hmm.
So, so my thought about how a robot would serve a Lego store is now very specific in one area of function. I don't think a straight up bulk raw material sorting robot is going to be successful for anyone. Now, let me take that back. Any volume seller, anybody who's trying to get high sales and lots of sales, if you just wanted your robot to work for you and give you a few parts that you could catalog at the end of a day, I think that would be successful. But what I want a robot to do is I want it to take a lot of parts, like 100 pounds, like more than 100 pounds per day, and give me something that I can pick up and put into a drawer. And you just can't do that with raw materials. Do you know how many drop locations you'd have to have for a robot to be able to give you raw material that you pick up and put into a drawer? I want to be able to pick up something from a robot and go directly to a drawer. I
You
don't
would
want to have
already
to
have
give
to
it.
have a couple levels of sort done prior to feeding the robot.
That's the very thing. There's certain things a robot will never be able to do. But why have a robot that's just doing something that's already inexpensive for me to do at a human level and actually is done better at a human level? Why have a robot fill drawers when the quality is never going to be there? So I'm redesigning our raw materials processing to include how a robot would work.
Okay.
And now you know what your robot needs to do. So now you know how to build the right robot or the right
Okay.
machine to do certain things. And to be honest with you, if we do build one, it's not going to be one. I wouldn't stop at just one machine. I would fill a warehouse of machines. And then
Right.
and then once I'm done filling my warehouse of machines, I'm going to sell it.
So would you not just sell it, but also sell the product of it? Like people could just send you bulk and you could just sort it and just return it to them, or sell pre-sorted.
I don't think the cost would warrant the expense.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess I could if the machine was that good at doing it. But for you to ship me Lego and sort it for you and ship it back to you at an expense, I think if it was kind of viewed as a novelty, I still think it's going to be more expensive. I don't think that you would get a lot of revenue gains by having me do that work with my machine.
Well, I mean, I think it would have to be more of a local transaction. Like
Hmm.
somebody in your area is like, oh, I just picked up X amount. Can I bring it over to you? Throw you,
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever a couple laborers is worth for that amount of material.
Well, let's take this into context of these large people. Let's say some bulk person. Brick Vibe is the perfect example because he's talked about his pallets. Do you think that it'd be worth sending me those pallets first and then doing something with them, or do you think those pallets are already set up in a condition where he can quickly process them? My guess is that those pallets are already set up so he can process them pretty quickly. He just needs to be able to get the people to pick up the materials and get it to a location of where it now can serve to a customer order.
I I don't know nearly enough about the process of buying pallets. To me, what I picture is cutting a deal with Goodwill and getting pallets from them where you're throwing away a Barbie head every 3 minutes and a pair of shoes and a couple sticks of gum.
Right.
I I couldn't begin to guess where you would get a pallet of Lego that is Lego through and through and ready to process. I don't know enough about that scale.
Well, and
It's
then
hard.
that's the part that he's probably never going to let go. He's just not going to give those things away, or the
No, and it shouldn't.
relationships. It's
Yeah,
yeah, it's relationships. It's suppliers. It's contacts.
yeah,
It's work. It's work. If I wanted to do that business, I could probably get there if I felt like that was where we wanted to start earning our revenues from. I mean, supply chain is supply chain. You just have to be able to put the capital behind it and tell people you're willing to spend money, and the product starts to show up, and then you got to be able to move that product at
yeah.
margins that is accommodating your expenses. What I'm saying though is, who would want to? I want to create a machine that does volume.
Yeah.
I'm not creating a machine that does the simple work. It's doing, well, rather, okay, so it's simplified down to its own task, but the beginning tasks on bulk, raw, used materials is exactly what you just said. You are pulling out a lot of stuff that doesn't even belong there. You have to tear it down. You got to get to a level of actually being able to pull some revenue from it. And that's the raw materials processing that we've developed. It's allowed us to get to this scale, and it's all been human labor up to this point. You know,
Mm.
this person works from home, bring it to another person, maybe works on site, goes to another person, works from home, gets it to a drawer, gets it to a customer. That raw material processing of pieces is the logistics that I've developed over the last 8 years. And now it's time to say what piece of that makes sense for some automation. And if I have to add more people to do that, then I've lost. I've lost a lot of value. Now, if
Yeah.
I put more people into it and I'm getting double the output,
Mm.
then I'm winning. But if I'm putting in more and I'm getting out less, then I'm losing, right? I bet
Yeah.
I think a robot should actually give you more than double the output for the inputs of what you're putting into it.
Because theoretically, it doesn't need breaks. It doesn't need to stop, right?
Mhm.
As long as it's consistently fed, it should. And at a point, you shouldn't have to feed it very often, right?
Robots feeding robots.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't do you much good if you have to stop what you're doing every 30 minutes to
Hmm.
feed it. You know, it's give it its lunchtime little snack and off you go. Uh, uh, okay, so for quality control,
Hmm.
you said believe your sorters do some of that, right?
Hmm.
What do you give them for criteria?
Hmm.
Like, just would you be happy with it if it came to your house,
Hmm.
or
That's the
yeah?
number one. Yeah. Would you
Okay.
build with Lego like this? If you were to make a Lego set, would this be a reject Lego for you? That's exactly it. That's the best measure. You
Okay.
know, put yourself in the customer's shoes. Would you like to receive part like that? But and every level responds that way. From the first break apart sorter, we want to get a bag of the stuff, and they actually think they're doing it wrong. I had this huge bag, like all of these parts are no good, and I'm like, oh, okay, good job. And they're like, what? Yeah, no, that's actually pretty good. I mean, you should be pulling out parts. If you're not pulling out parts and you let too much pass through the system, we'll
Yeah.
be pulling it out later. And then other people will get, a bag that somebody else is, kind of prepped for cataloging, and they'll be like, I can't believe how many parts they let pass that they didn't pull out for discoloration, or,
Yeah.
maybe there's something in there. So yeah, multiple eyes with different perspectives, but everybody working on it, saying, I want to give quality Legos that I would be like, I would pay for 'em. I would pay money for myself. So yeah.
Okay. So is that the only grade? You don't have like filler bricks as a category somewhere?
Oh yeah. What I tried was something that I saw on eBricks. eBricks online. I love those guys so much. I've never communicated with anybody from there, but they're very well established. They've been around for a long time. One of their listings is seconds. I think they have seconds, and I think they even have thirds. I tried this thing called seconds, which is like you put a comment on the part and it's graded, and then if you look at their terms of service or their terms, that talks about what seconds means.
Mhm.
I've tried similar things like that, and it just kind of fails. The biggest reason it fails is because that comment on that part does not show up when you're buying from a want list. If you do not go
Yeah.
to the actual build the cart manual, the comment doesn't show up. And Bricklink, I don't know if they know about it. Maybe they know about it and they don't have the energy to fix it, or the time, or maybe even the willingness to fix it. So customers are coming in satisfying a want list, and our typical sale is probably like 100 items. And I hope they didn't spend all the time manually adding 100 items. but maybe that's how they shop. But in some cases, they'll get a part, and then we'll show them the comment, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even see that comment." Well, we at that point feel compelled to give them a quality part. So now we've sent them a part that was lower grade. We priced it and such. They thought they got a deal, but in reality, they got a low quality part. So very limited will I put in things, and I've been using the term called battle damaged, with some other terms in there like tooth mark or a crack on the torso, but sometimes they just straight up battle damaged. I will say that some of the people who are picking the orders, they come to me and saying, "Chris, I am never shipping this part, even though you said it was battle damaged. I don't care if it was a quarter. This is never leaving the store here. We're giving them a refund, or we're finding them a regular part, and you're paying for it at a quarter." So I do a lot less of the battle damaged. It's pretty restrictive. The one I did, here's a good example. So that Minecraft wolf head, have you seen the price on this thing? And
I've sold
light
one.
bluish gray. Why is this thing worth so much? I don't even get it. But I had one that was color worn. It had faded colors on it, and so I dropped the thing down to half price, and I put that in there because I'm still going to try and capture like a $25 sale, and that's like a third of the price of what it is. Why is this thing worth so much? Why does that make any sense? I don't know. But anyways, that was one I did pass through the system, and I think that they would be okay with that one. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, it's that was backwards. I didn't sell that. I bought that to complete the Minecraft Mountain Fortress. I needed like 3 more pieces to complete it, and we sold that set for $800, I think it was.
Okay, so do you have any explanation of why that's so valuable?
Yeah, so short shelf life on the set itself.
Oh.
Biggest Minecraft set of all time at the
Oh.
time. Lots of rare parts in that, things that only appeared one time. There's a giant green slime in that
Yeah.
has like a little bench, and then
Yeah.
2 trans green like eye pieces or something. You
Yeah.
can only get them in like Japan right now. It's very rare.
Yeah. Ben was telling me one time he sold one of those, and he was like, "What? Why is this? I think I priced it too low because he sold it like in a few hours."
Yeah, that set was actually a cool build. It was huge.
Yeah, I wish I built Lego. I wish I enjoyed Lego a little bit more than just the business side of it.
Yeah,
I'll get there
we
one day.
started off building sets and selling them used on eBay, and then all of the spare parts from doing that is how this nonsense all started. And then it started making more sense to do Bricklink than to build
You
these
got to
sets.
tell Ralph he's too harsh. He's unfavorited stores that use comments about defects.
Oh man,
Because he does wantless shopping. So
yeah,
I mean, I understand where he's coming from. He's been burned. He's bought
yeah,
parts, thought he was getting the part he was going to be able to put in a drawer or finish a fig or something like that, and got burned by it. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying that that kind of a sentiment is probably a reason for me to stop doing what I'm doing on anything that's lower than our regular parts. I'd rather go open up another store, but then who's going to buy from a store with all broken parts?
yeah.
Because you would not believe this little cup right here is the little reject cup, and sometimes it's non Lego, but sometimes it's good stuff, but just it's poor quality, and I keep filling this thing up all the time. All the time I fill that thing up.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of comments on quality lately because we got a whole lot of train parts in 9-volt stuff, and it's like a switch or like a battery compartment. I'm not gonna test them all, so
Yeah.
I make sure that they look like they're in very good condition, no corrosion, no visible damage, and I list them as untested, very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to somebody. I hope it works out. It's cheap enough that I won't care if I have to give them a refund, but it's cheap enough that they can gamble on it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm burning myself by doing it that way, but so far
Well,
so good.
yeah, you need to do what works for you. I came into the shop one day and I had a pile of those light bricks on my desk. They had pulled all the light bricks from the store and said, you need to test all these instead of putting it untested, may need batteries. Somebody was not happy with the way I was doing it. So I spent 2 hours taking those things apart, pulling batteries out, putting them in, and taking all the ones that didn't work out and saying, not working. And I put them all back in the store and said, not working. Will never work with batteries. Buy it for parts.
Man. Yeah. I don't think we've listed any light bricks yet.
Oh, I go through a lot of light bricks. And light bricks, if you don't pull them before you do your washing, there's a high chance that it's going to be completely destroyed. The batteries will get so corroded after the drying process that it just will never work. And so your washing can cause damage to that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, they have their own little container. I just haven't gone through them yet. I know we get a sound brick in there too from what was it? From Agents, which man, I might keep that one.
Yeah, we had 2 of the sound bricks from the Grand Carousel. I had those things listed for $500 each for almost 3 years. We did our sale in June, and it went down to just about 10% over 6-month average, and it sold in a day.
Wow.
I think we got
How are you feeling about
$250 for it. So we held on to it for the right amount of time and waited for that 6-month average price to come up is what we were waiting on. So,
okay. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about it. I need to straighten this. I have all of the mirrored stickers from that set. They're all crooked, every one of them. I'm a little worried about trying to straighten those out.
Well, how much money do you have into those? Did you pay anywhere near the price for those bricks, or did you just happen to find that set in bulk?
In bulk.
Okay. So your investment to those parts is not all that expensive. What you're nervous about is losing potential dollars.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I battle that as well. I get upset when I was like, oh man, a Captain Rex with a cracked torso, right?
Yep.
I have learned to tell myself, just move on. List it as a cracked torso, be completely honest with the customers, and that's when you get you get the good consistent feedbacks. Just tell customers, hey, so we've had customers send us emails and they're like, can you tell me the quality of this minifig? And I'm like, okay, I have 12 of those in my store and they're in 12 different locations. And for me to be unreasonable and try and tell you exactly which one it is. One time Doug and I were goofing around. He's my operations manager. And I was like, tell him it's garbage. Tell him we don't have a good one. We're never going to have a good one for anybody who asks a question like that. We're never going to have the right one for you. Go buy a new one from somebody else. We didn't send that. That's just the customer. We were teasing each other about it. But the moment you get that question from somebody, you just know they're just looking for a high quality part. And it was like, we may not be the right store for you. Honestly, we may not be the right location for you, because if you are asking that question, then you're looking for the best quality collectible level of minifig. Even if I have it, I have to find that one to get it to you. So it ends up becoming like an hour and a half's worth of our work for the sale of like maybe a $12 fig or even less. We had to create terms. It's basically said, we may send you a photo upon request, but we may also just kind of give you our canned response and be like, we have a lot of parts. They're coming and going every single day. If you don't get a quality part that you're happy with, we have a way to help you out. So take your chance, buy the part from us. If you deal with quality issues, once you receive it, we will do everything as our customer. We'll do everything we can to take care of you. So we actually save money by not spending the hours taking the photos and trying to get them that exact fig, because we just have too much inventory. When we're dealing with as much inventory we have, it's too much to go and take photos. And we get that question a lot.
Yeah. When you do decide to send somebody pictures, how do you go about it?
Lately, my response has been to do a 4K video from my iPhone, upload that to a Google Drive to make it public and completely open, and then send them the link and let them look at the 4K video so they can see all sides of it.
Okay. All right. So no direct communication, no email, nothing like that.
We send them I don't know how he's doing that because I think links are limited. No, you have to send it as a direct email. If it comes through, that's a good question. I don't know how he's doing this these days. Um,
Okay.
if in Bricklink, you get their email.
Yep.
Bricklink shares the email, so we can send them links to those things through the email. And I think some links will actually still go through Bricklink. They're not really good about filtering it, but Brickowl they will block all links. Um, so if Brick Owl is watching, they're going to now know our little secret. But what we do is we break the link up and we'd be like, like Google, return com space slash space. I mean, it's the only way to
Yeah.
send them information about that specific one. But incredibly, I don't think we get that question very often on Brick Owl. We get that question on Bricklink quite a bit, but people very, very infrequently ask that question on Brick Owl. I think maybe once or twice a year. It's not very much.
Is Brick Owl an entirely different customer base? It
No,
seems like no. Okay. It
no,
just
I know some people are doing both. Um, and well, okay, not entirely different, but distinctly different. Yes, they are distinctly
okay.
different.
All right. Yeah. It seems like the two sites are different enough that I still don't want any part of doing both.
Hmm.
Like I and I said this when Ralph was on. I don't want to learn new things until I've really learned the current thing,
Oh.
which is why it took me so long to get into Brick Store. I wanted to really understand Bricklink at its core before I moved to that.
Hmm.
So now, as I learn that, then I can branch out to other things.
Hmm.
I hate only partially understanding things and then moving on because then I never go back and learn the rest of whatever I was doing,
Hmm.
which is probably personality flaw or something.
Well, I would say that is going to probably put a little bit of it's going to put a bottleneck on your ability to scale um, at a speed that
not
but it doesn't sound like you want to scale all that much, so maybe it works for you. But for me, that would be
yeah,
a bottleneck to scaling up.
not having Brick Owl.
No, no, not having the ability to move forward with something if I don't
Yeah,
fully have it completely understood.
yeah.
Being able to trust other people. I have to be able to trust my team and not understand how they got the job done sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
ask them, did
so
you get the job done? Yeah.
I think there's a point there because there's a point where it changes. I think I need to understand something well enough that I could teach somebody else
Mm.
what I've learned so that they can go and do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also care more about results than methods. So if they start with whatever I show them and then they find their own way, as long as the results are good, then that's fine. But they're starting with nothing too. How am I going to teach them something I don't fully understand?
Mm.
Right. I mean, I only need to understand enough. I'm sure there are things that I'm never going to make any use of. I'm not going to go looking for those things and try to understand those. That's not going to help me, at least for now. Okay. For mold types, do you break down every single one, or do you ever use undetermined?
No, we do. We break down every single one. We don't use
Yeah,
undetermined.
that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the game, is
Yeah.
being ready to identify those different mold types. We don't always get it right. Sometimes we end up sending the wrong mold type to a customer because we weren't good at our job. But
Yeah.
no, every single mold type is broken down. We don't do undetermined. It's funny though. I say that I had an undetermined sale on a 1x2 black plate with 3 fingers, and they bought 9 of them for $12 each from the undetermined category.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it, and it was like it made no sense. There was nothing logical about the sale because there was so many of them, and even undetermined at a lower price, at the same quantity. I think it was like somebody who wasn't all the way there and they clicked buy, and I was so suspicious of the sale. We insured it, we took pictures of it before it shipped, and nothing ever came out of it. But it was like, how? And then I'm sitting there looking, how did they even get priced like this? What in the world happened here? It was a few years back when we first moved to the warehouse, but I was just dumbfounded. So I say I don't do undetermined price. It sometimes slips through the cracks, and it does when you have this many people working on it. But by policy, no, we don't use undetermined type.
Okay. Yeah, there's a couple that have just. Okay, so today we were doing whatever they're called, 2L bars with claw, the little claw pieces. Well, there's ones with cut edges and then the rounded ones.
Yeah.
And we had a pile of black. It was a black and dark gray and whatnot.
Yeah.
On a black, and we dumped them out onto a black mouse pad because most of this desk is mouse pad. Wrong location to try to tackle that in the first place. And we had no awareness that there were two types prior to dumping it out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. And then after all of that work, there was only 4 of the rounded ones anyway. It's like, oh,
Yeah, but the people who are looking for those rounded ones will be grateful that you did all that work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it seems like every time we had come into a situation like that, within the next 7 days, something out of that happens to sell. So strange how that works, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I need glasses.
Oh man, my story behind glasses. All of a sudden, like one day, I just needed readers. I woke up, went down to the Lego store. Kyle and Steve were down there, and I was like, I can't see this part. Something's wrong with my eyes. Went to the doctor, and they're like, Hey, it's magic. I'm like, what are you talking about? You just hit that age. Now you need reading glasses from now on.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, I said, fix it. He's like, nope.
Oh, man.
Lego will help draw out your weaknesses.
Yep. Yep. That's a bad one. I'm not liking that. I mean, thankfully, it's every camera around has zoom on it now.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. And it's on the other desk. From watching Ralph, I bought a camera for Bricklink, and that thing has been a lifesaver. Just always on, aiming down, stick my hand under it.
Yeah.
Without that thing,
Is that document camera that?
Yeah, it's on like a gooseneck. That thing is awesome.
Yeah. I have moved on from those. I bought those things and I told everybody about it, and now they're like, you can't even get them for like less than $25-$30. And I bought like cases of them for like $8. When I say case, I'm like case of 8 of them I bought for like $8 each. Somebody out there, and they were listed at like $35-$40, and I was like, I got them all the way down to $8. And then I went to go back buy them from them again, and they let me do it again, and then they sold out or something, and they never had any more. So I said, I'm done buying that. But now I buy these little circuit board. Here, I can actually show you. Let me pull one off. I'm so high tech. I'm telling you what. I have a little circuit camera. I'm gonna have to. How am I gonna do this here? Okay, so this little circuit camera. It's a camera on a circuit board. It's $8 from Amazon, and you can change the focus on it. And then I have sticky tack. Yeah, the sticky tack. It's like tack for like posters and stuff, like pictures on your wall or something like that. Yeah. And with sticky tack, I can tack it anywhere I want.
Okay.
It doesn't take a lot to get the job done. This thing is like $8, and it doesn't always work right, and it's not the best. But when it comes to Bricklink, I'm still the quality guy checking the thing, and this thing still just works exactly like it's supposed to. It's amazing what you can get done with some low tech ideas.
That's awesome. You need to actually have something prepared to stick that to, though, right?
Yeah, right here at the bottom of my monitor.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're always working from the same spot or a similar situation, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that I will tell people, if you're doing Bricklink and you're adding parts, you need to focus on your economies of motion. So move as little as possible while you're
Mhm.
cataloging, and make your desk set up so that I grab a part, drop it into a drawer, click a button on my gaming mouse pad. This button right here adds the part. I don't even have to go to my keyboard. My keyboard is not used while I'm adding parts.
Interesting.
Unless sometimes I'll change a color, like I'll hit Y for yellow, or W for white, or I don't know, F for flat silver. Those colors are those are the only colors that start with that. They added another color for yellow, or Y, which is yellowish green, but you go to yellow first, you go to white first, and there's another one for white too. There's so
Mhm.
many weird colors that they're adding, but they're pretty rare. And Brick Store now helps you out a lot, because if you had the part identified and you go to known colors, then you only have the list of what you're going to be in there. And so, but economies of motion, I can add. Well, I was doing that actually. Your last interview, well, when you interviewed Ralph, I
Yep.
was cataloging parts because I'm at the same desk where I'm sitting at and cataloging parts while you guys are doing that interview, and I added almost 1,000 lots while you guys were there. And I think I was probably doing print or something like that. That was why it was so ridiculous high. So it's one part at a time. I'm not like counting or anything. I'm just adding parts and filling drawers. And in the end of the day, you guys did, the interview, and I had cataloged almost $800 in parts in that same time frame. So yeah, very productive time. But it's the economies of motion. I am not moving very much. You grab a handful of parts, you put it in front of you, you kind of click a few times, and then drawers are filled. Scan the drawer, put the drawer behind you, and I don't have to move very far to get things done.
Yeah. I guess that's also the advantage of being whatever it is there, unconsolidated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it is. It is. If you want to talk about unconsolidated, ask me whatever questions you want, because I have all kinds of thoughts about that. But
So, well, I guess the biggest question is, and I don't know that I would do that, but once you're this far along, how do you stop? Like, I mean, I have room in some of these. I mean, I guess, yeah, I could throw other things in there,
yeah.
but it feels
Well,
like I
if
don't
you
know.
ran out of drawers, what would you do? Would you add more drawers, or would you just start filling the drawers that aren't full all the way?
I buy more drawers.
You
Well,
buy more
now,
drawers.
now I wouldn't because
Okay. So
I'm
let's say you did buy
out of
more
space.
drawers. Now you've
Yeah,
run out of space to add more drawers, and you still have empty space in your store. Now what are you going to do?
cry about it.
So
Yeah.
if
Okay.
your strategy does not support unconsolidated parts, and don't do that.
Yeah.
We went after it so bad, or so deep. Our strategy is now built around unconsolidated. Yeah, people who are cataloging and filling drawers from home, I guaranteed you're going to have some unconsolidated materials in there. People who work on site will go get empty drawers. Those are easier to fill than already filled drawers. People
Mhm.
who work on site spend all day consolidating unconsolidated drawers. When I say consolidating, we call it making empties. So you take an
Mhm.
entire cabinet of Acro Mills and you bring it back to your desk. You verify every part in all of those drawers, and then you condense it as much as you can to make empty space inside that cabinet.
Okay.
Okay. So we're constantly looking for space, because space is the premium of what we have. Our ability to do 2 million parts, and logistics of what we have, is limited by the amount of drawer space that we have. My drawer space is limited by the amount of space I have. The pick path is limited by how much walking space I want to give to my people. So it's all part of the strategy. Now, so my strategy is built around unconsolidated. Well, what happens? Sometimes you get an order for an element that's in 75 different locations, and the customer bought one element, and you spend 2 hours picking this order. Well, hopefully my 2 hours picking that order got paid for in the price of that order, but not always. So sometimes you lose. Sometimes the unconsolidated strategy is a fail. But our strategy of the premium, of taking our premium space and using it to the best effectiveness that we can, does work. Even to go as far as to say the robot that we're building is going to be part of that strategy. The robot and the automation of sorting in our unconsolidated space is included in that strategy. If it doesn't support the strategy of consolidating the unconsolidated materials, then it's included. Then it won't be considered as a possibility for us as a automatic Lego sorter.
Okay. So you're completely numbered and barcoded, right?
Yeah.
Well, I need to start that clearly soon. One of the reasons we've held off is because we still have holes. I feel like because we have voids and we're consolidated, it's like something belongs in that spot. We just don't have anything to put in that spot that should belong there. If you're unconsolidated, then it doesn't matter what goes where. So you can just start your numbering and the drawer just goes back in whatever hole it came from. Right?
Yeah. Your speed to fill drawers would slope up, but your picking procedures would need to adjust to your change.
Yeah. Okay.
You would need pour trays. You would need a way of pouring that drawer out, looking for parts inside there. You would need to learn how much is too much variety for a particular drawer. How do you distinct between like elements in different colors? How do you make sure that your mold variations aren't mixed? You have some. You'll have a learning curve to do it, but I don't think it's for everybody. I think some people, if they were to do it, that they would struggle and they would want to go back. They would want to undo what they did. For me to undo what we've done would cost a significant amount of money and time. So my answer is just to raise prices.
Okay. Yeah. Because I feel like doing it this way, it's very easy. We know where everything is in the house within, it's, I don't know, 2 square feet, right? We're right there in the range. So it's fast and nothing is labeled. We just walk right to what we're getting, but that's not scalable, which is the reason I want to try to consider. Because at some point we're not going to be having these in our living room, dining room, and bedroom.
Yeah, barcodes are a lot easier than I think people maybe anticipate. I could probably show you in 10 minutes how to make barcodes for cheap. And you don't need special labels.
Cheap.
You don't have to buy the premium labels from Avery or somebody else. You can do it on 8.5, an 8.5 by 11 piece of sheet or sheet of stickers, like where there's the stickers, there's just 2 stickers, 2 big stickers on there. Super cheap on Amazon, and you can just cut it down to the shape of what you need for a label. Super easy.
Okay.
Not expensive at all. It's not an expense thing, and the software's for free. You would probably need a barcode scanner, and even those I've got laying around. I'd ship you one for nothing. That wouldn't cost me anything to get that to you. But
yeah, I mean, I have the printers. I have barcode scanners from other things I do. So it's just a matter of doing it, I suppose. All right, I think maybe I'm sold.
On the barcodes, really? I sold you?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I will do. I took a week of vacation, so I've been on vacation this week. Not completely avoiding the warehouse. I've not been able to do that, but I haven't been doing operations at the warehouse. But I will do my best to do a live on Monday, and I will make barcodes for one of my cabinets there while I'm doing that live, and then you can watch that and maybe learn something. And if you have questions, just reach out to me.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah, I think because the more I think about it, the more I think about how much I'm struggling with figuring out what the hell to do with printed elements.
Oh my gosh, yes. Do
Yeah.
unconsolidated. Just grab a handful of printed elements, kind of separate them out, separate some colors. Don't do too many 1x2s of the same by color, 1x2 tiles because there's plenty of that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, do I have here's a bag of printed parts right here. I just put my hand in here and I go for it. I've learned that if I run into a green 1x2 tile that's a little money piece, just set that aside because I'm probably gonna run into that like 9 more times with every handful that I come out with that bag. And the little eyes, I kind of set those aside. So you got the ones you're setting aside and saying, all right, I'll consolidate from this one bag itself, and then at the end I'll kind of shove those all into one drawer. But a lot of people who do Lego have that little tiny photographic memory that says, I have already cataloged this part somewhere. And
Yep.
you obviously have that in your head because if you have nothing labeled and you can find your parts and you have somewhat of a photographic memory. But I'll be on a new drawer and I'll find this part for the second time and I'm like, is it worth going back and finding the drawer and adding it and increasing the quantity, or do I just keep moving forward and I keep rolling it? And sometimes I just keep on rolling. I'm already so unconsolidated. There's never ever we're never ever going back.
Yeah.
It
Well,
never.
and now that you're using Bricker, it doesn't look like you're unconsolidated, right?
You're right. You're right. It's a consolidated view from the customer's perspective.
Which
I
is
did.
very nice.
One thought I did go through my head about undoing the consolidation, or the rather going back to consolidated. It would have to be done with a humanoid robot, a Tesla, or one of the ones that I've got my eye on, and I don't recall the name of it right now. It doesn't matter. But one of these humanoid robots would be going and getting all those drawers, or some kind of a robot would be able to collect all the drawers and bring them to some kind of other robot, and it pours them out, pulls that part out, and does all that consolidation. That's about the only way I will reconsolidate. But even then, if I had those robots and they can do that level of work, I'm not going to have them consolidate parts. I'm going to have them picking parts and packing orders.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. It's crazy to think that that's actually a plausible thing that could be right around the corner.
Yeah, I would say by the end of 2027, a humanoid robot will be in our store if I can actually purchase one, because I think that the major manufacturers across the world are going to be buying most of them, if not all of them.
Yep.
A consumer, right now you got some at the consumer level that are kind of available, but that's just because they're trying to build brand recognition. If they were actually highly productive in manufacturing environments, yeah, it's not going to be easy to even source one of these things.
Yeah. Well, you would figure that once the major manufacturing plants get their hands on them, that'll drive price down over time, which will make it a little easier for you to get one, right?
I don't think so.
Well, isn't that how it's worked with like every other kind of technology? Like the government gets it first, and then like the super wealthy get it, and then the price drives
Yeah.
down, and we
I,
get
I
access.
think competition between different people making these things will drive the price down. I think it's the competition.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a natural part of that, right?
Right. I think that will drive the price down just because somebody gets better, like their robots are making them more robots. I don't think that would drive the price down. They have no reason to do that. Let's say Tesla is the only one that's making an effective robot for the first 2 years. Why would they change their price if nobody else is making a robot that can be purchased at that same level of productivity? Now, if 3 or 4 other manufacturers were out there, they already got that brand recognition. They already got that established, support base. They actually can help you make your robot productive. Because getting a robot into your facility, probably not going to be all that terribly difficult. Getting it to do the job that you want it to do and consistently doing that job without somebody having a full-time job to teach the robot to do its job.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's a
Well,
lot of
yeah.
gaps there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're not going to come pre-stocked with whatever you need them to do.
Well, that's the
In the
AI
basic
part
code.
that they're saying actually is going to happen. If
Yeah.
there's few circles that I follow, and they gave robot a basket of towels and said fold these towels, and it was not trained on how to fold the towel. It only had a large language model in there,
Hmm.
their proprietary thing that they put into it, and it folded towels. Um, it did like I would say like a 5-year-old level of folding towels, but it folded towels and it put them aside as folded towels that were not folded before
Hmm.
without being trained on what it looks like to fold the towel. Just do it.
Okay.
So supposed to be able to do
Interesting.
those things, but it's interesting. I don't know. I kind of I get excited about it, but I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of scary too.
Okay. What is the biggest bottleneck outside of sorting? Because if you want a robot to do it, it's got to be some sort of bottleneck. But what do you got beyond that?
What is the goal? The bottleneck against what
It,
goal?
well, just in general in your business, is there something else that you feel like it's sorting isn't everything. Sorting is
Hmm.
kind of the middle, right?
Hmm.
Is everything prior to that nice and smooth and everything after that nice and smooth? So are you satisfied with
Um,
packing, shipping, all of those things?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me think about that for a second. So from end to end, you got sourcing the Lego, you got a sorting process that you go through to refine it down to the piece, and then you've got a picking procedure for that order. Then you're going to have, possible remediation or customer service that happens for those orders. Um, Now, I am. Yes,
Nice.
I am completely satisfied. There's nothing in that chain of events or that operations, what we call our production line. I'm not unsatisfied with any level of that production line. I think it's a pretty solid production line.
Awesome.
The fact that I can walk away for a week and let the team run it means, and the new guy's only been there about 4 weeks, and and the rest of the team already knows what they're doing, and he stays busy with what he's doing. Hired another person last week, and they're staying busy with what they're doing. So we've got things that we can train people to do in just about 10 to 15 minutes, and they can just do their job, and they don't need a lot more than that. So that's why most of our people are contract labor, because it's not a high skilled position they're
Yeah.
coming into. But to get back to your question, what's the bottleneck based on what I am trying to accomplish long term? Well, it depends on what that is. What am I trying to accomplish long term? Believe it or not, I had a conversation with Brick Vibe. I did a live, I don't know, feels like a year ago. He and I were talking, and he's the used element is, he's curious about how the used element works in stores and how do people make it work. I think mostly he's a new seller of new parts, and he's like, well, how do you do used, and how do you make any money at that? And I'm like, well, how do you do new, and how do you make any money at that? And but he made a comment. He goes, if I could do what you're doing and then continue to reproduce it, why wouldn't I just continue to drive at it and take over everything? And that I pondered that. I have pondered that question, because the only bottleneck that I can say when I'm thinking about your question is me not wanting to scale it more than it already has been. I don't want it to be scaled too quickly. I want to have small successes that grow upon small successes, and then celebrate huge victories along the way. because we have the space, we have the capacity, we have the processes, we have the inventory, we have all the procedures. There, well, I asked you about that quality of life question. I could, I could give up a lot at home and work those 80-hour weeks and probably bring home a significant more than what I'm bringing home now. So I kind of don't want it, to be honest with you. Like I said, last month was exciting, and the month before was also pretty intense, and we proved to ourselves that we can do it. And I gave everybody a bonus. At the end of those 2 months, everybody got bonuses. I didn't even really tell them. I just kind of put more money in their checks, and I just did it. And but yeah, and this month I was like, they're all kind of, some of them are freaking out. I was like, we're not doing as good as we did last month. What did we do? And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. We're doing fine. We don't need to have that happen all the time. Nobody should. I don't want you guys to live that way. I don't want to live that way. Let's do it again some other time. Let's take a break to the end of the year. Let's try a couple different things. Let's build a new company, because I'm starting another company. So let's do those things, and let's get really good at this, what we're doing today. Let's bring in some new people. Let's stay calm. But if I had other ambitions, if I was a little bit more, wanting to make all dollars I could absolutely make, then I think we could do it. I think we could push 400 a month in sales and fill 400 a month or more per month. We could just really fly at that. There's no reason we couldn't. The people label are there, the processes are there. I've got the space, I've got the desks, I've got the computers. I'd have everything I need to do it. I think it's me. I've never been asked that question like that before, so thank you for the question, Ken. It's me. I don't want it to be like that.
Okay. So you mentioned this new business. Am I allowed to ask about that? Is it the one you mentioned in the member channel, or is that?
Did I only mention it in member channels? Probably. My two businesses are going to work hand in hand. They're going to work hand in hand. One works for the other. I feel like there's a certain level of separation from different aspects. And I'm going to be done with my career at Great Brick Lab as operations manager. And then next year, we'll probably go public with our new company.
Cool. Are you excited? How are you feeling about it?
I'm a little, it's work.
Yeah.
I'm a little overwhelmed with the level of work that it's going to take to really get it up. And it's going to take 3 years before I think that company is striving successfully. So it's going to be expensive. It's going to be a lot of work. But I'm also kind of building a legacy. If my children, want to take over, there'll be something there for them to take over. If they don't want to take over and they just want to let it run on its own, then that's fine, and then they don't have to be involved at all. So I kind of look at this as a little bit of a legacy for me, because I'm not just taking care of this generation, I'm taking care of future generations as well.
That's awesome. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So are you going to operate it in a different location?
I'm looking at properties. I'm being told by partners that I'm involved with that now is not good timing on getting new properties. So yes, we're going to do everything we can to make the current space that we have work. We've already actually started that this week, accommodating additional square foot usage of our space. And some things are in our current space are going to be relocated. You've seen my videos. I've got two sides to my building. Some things are going to be relocated to the other side. It's going to be in the same space. I'm not getting a lot of appetite for more acquisitions of property right now.
Okay. Well, it's easier to keep an eye on both sides if you're in the same spot in the meanwhile.
Well, I told him, I was like, listen, this it already grows beyond my ability to put the brakes on. I try and put the brakes on, and I get told otherwise. I was like, no, take the brakes off, stop doing what you're doing. And I'm like, I have some ability to do that. Because I mean, you took us along a journey. This entire interview has been from origins to growth phases to operational efficiencies. I am not responsible for everything that has happened that is successful and runs well. I've told you so many times, the elements of people coming into contributing to it. I give a lot of credit to God and my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without that element of my faith in Him, I wouldn't be so driven to even do half the things that I do, to be honest with you, or be able to do it with the integrity that I strive after. Just for one really good example, I can never explain why a supplier would call me and say, we want to supply you Lego at half the price of the market price and do it for 3 years and become an exclusive customer for them for 3 solid years, giving me enough inventory. I am not so great and amazing to kind of work the wheels on that deal, but there was just kind of some, divine help to say, we're being set up for something, and I don't know what it is, and it's not to align my own pockets with money. It's just not that. But that journey that you've taken us through, this interview, it's grown well beyond what I ever thought it would do. I didn't sit down 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and be like, well, if I had a company and I would want to do it this and this and this and this. Actually, I kind of did do that. I'll be honest. I did do that. It looks nothing like that. It looks zero like that. I thought it would be completely different, and location different and operations. It's completely different. I should go back and look at those old plans and see how silly they were. But I was thinking about it, and it's not even there at all. But the successes that we've had and the celebrations that we've had, and you had mentioned also the technology changes along the way. I can't believe how many technologies and Recognize coming into the picture and all this stuff being introduced. This is just a splendid time to be in the industry that we're in. And then Lego continuing to give great sets and wonderful new elements that just keep driving the demand. We don't talk much on the seller side but the demand for this product, I am responsible for $0 of investment in creating demand for Lego product. I don't do that at all. I don't have to.
Yep. And you have the actual brand's blessing to sell the product.
Yes.
Which is wild, because Bricklink is Lego.
Yep.
I don't think it was when you started, right?
No, it wasn't originally owned by the original owner. It had been sold at that point in time, which I learned later, of course. But yeah,
Yep.
I was a little bit late to the game. I feel like I'm late to the game on this. I wish I would have been. Well, I don't think I would have been in a place where I would have been as successful in Wise in what I did and how we grew our business if I would have gotten into it back when Daniel had started it, 20 years ago.
That's so long. 20 years is a long time.
Yeah, and Bricklink is all about celebrating it right now.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and in regards to Lego's blessing to sell their products, I kind of really don't know how they feel about it. Lego is a manufacturer of plastic blocks sold as sets. If it wasn't for the sets, they really wouldn't have a market to sell plastic blocks. There'd be no market to sell it. But because they're so great at their set designs and everything there, people buy them. And people also have all the design software. I kind of see a little bit of a risk with Bricklink being owned by Lego. I'm grateful that they do, and they kept it going, and I think that they kind of want to keep it going as well. But I also kind of see a future where Bricklink and Brickall are not the only ones. As a matter of fact, they're not the only ones today. There's a few that are up and coming, and you can see those from Bricker. Some of them don't service U.S. people yet, and some of them just don't want to yet. They just haven't chosen to yet. But I think our landscape of available sources to find customers looking for our products is going to expand in the years to come.
That'll be interesting. I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen either when, when the day comes that Lego goes public and whenever, because I really think it's going to happen.
You do?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Would you buy stock in Lego if it went public?
For sure. Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I say that now. You see some of the prices of some of the sets coming up, and I think they're stepping in it. So,
well, do they need to go public and continue to operate? I don't see them having any need to go public.
I don't think it's out of necessity. I think that it's been so many generations. At some point, the family's going to say, enough is enough. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, then you have stockholders making demands on what the company should or shouldn't do.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've never thought about that.
IPs are responsible for 60% of their revenue. So, I mean, they kind of already have stakeholders at this point because Lego's not the one making the decisions what happens on Star Wars sets. I don't think. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch how it all happens. We'll all be along for the ride, however it goes. It'll be fun.
As long as there's demand for the product, I'll be grateful.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I can't see it going anywhere after all this time. They have some better competition now. So that is a little strange to see. I think some of these brands are being a little more widely accepted. What are they called? Funhole, Lumi bricks, I guess they're called.
Yeah, we've come into some really, really, really good quality knockoff bricks. The colors match really well. The printing is almost deceptively close on the top of the studs. We've run into quite a bit of this stuff. But what's not there is the demand in the aftermarket. So people are liking the sets, but there's no secondary demand for any of this, all these elements that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's still new. And so with something like Lumi bricks, if it's completely compatible with Lego this early on, why is there going to be a demand specifically for that? Who's going to start a Lumi bricks third-party site when there's only, 500 elements to work with? Just leave that to the Lego folks.
Well, and they don't have the legacy of the brand Lego. The Lego brand is so powerful. It's so strong. I mean, it's one of the strongest brands of all brands. It is a lot of weight.
Lego is the only brand that is a toy store, a brand, an amusement park. What else do we figure? They're a store, an amusement park. They are a toy themselves. They also do work for other brands and with other toys. They're in absolutely everybody's pocket. Oh, and video games,
entertainment.
They're everywhere. There is no other brand that touches all of those categories. And you say Lego, and people just think of little bits of plastic, but they are everywhere.
So it is interesting how many connections and the intricate pieces it is. But yeah, it makes me wonder why more people don't do what we do with Lego. It's because of the task of what we do. I tell people that one all the time, and it was like, if somebody actually created a machine that could sort Legos in your house for you and rebuild those sets, then we would all be out of business.
Yeah.
What's the need of having a Bricklink store if a machine can be consumer level sold, and it will process all of your sets in your kid's toy box back into sets and does it in an automated way. There's like zero demand left. Eventually the demand will be dried up, and it'll be guys like Brick Vibe who are continuing to operate because he's got the volume of those parts. But my little niche of being able to supply 1,000 different elements to one customer because he's trying to rebuild 65 different sets and he can't find those elements or doesn't want to spend the time looking for them, he just buys a machine that does it for him day and night.
Hmm.
Ralph told me, like the second day after I announced Big Robot, he's like, "I hope you fail." And I'm like, "What? I thought we were friends." And he's like, "I hope you fail."
Yeah. Well,
And I
that
love his
came up in
honesty.
one of the brick separator calls. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He
yeah,
says, "Do not do that, Chris James. Just don't do it."
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And I
actually,
think he,
go ahead.
oh, yeah, I think well, we all realize it's not as easy to of an element. It's not as easy to crack this formula on getting this done. Otherwise, it had already been done and sold and resold. And yeah, even that expensive Italian machine, it's 100K. Have you ever seen the video of the Italian made one under commission, the one with the big conveyor belts and the eye
Yes.
vision
Yeah.
system? They only got a few videos on YouTube, but it just looks like it's amazing, right? I've talked to the guy who owns the machine in the US. He's got it color sorting for him because it's too difficult to program.
Wow.
So you can
Oh,
spend 100K on a machine and get color sort out of it. He can get more out of it, but he got to put inputs into getting it or have it reprogrammed and all these things, and he had to tune it and this and that. And I'm like, it is not an easy one to crack. So Ralph, and he's one of my best buds, and I took it really. He really hurt me when he said that, but I mean in a really cool, fun way. But it's not been easy to crack this thing. Otherwise, I think I'd have already would have done it if it's just a matter of buying the right parts and getting the right people involved. And no, it's more. It's so much more than that.
so since we've mentioned it a couple times tonight, um, so everybody who is unfamiliar, you see Ralph over here in the chat. He does have the Brick Separator Society, which you can sign up for over there.
Yeah,
And the seller chats are fantastic. You guys are great. It's
one of my
although
favorite
I have
days.
one thing I will complain about, especially since I
Oh,
know Ralph is here. Um, something in the settings on the YouTube end over there, I can't shut my screen off. So I listen to you guys while I'm at work. I have YouTube Premium, whatever. There's something in the settings, and it says whatever user is, I don't know, whatever,
I don't know what that is.
done something with the settings. So I just take my phone, I throw it in my pocket. Now my ass is on fire because the screen's been lit up for 45 minutes in my pocket. Yeah. So, yep, there's my complaint. Everything else about it, I love it. I look forward to it. But, yep.
So
There's that.
if you make your screen go black, it shuts off and doesn't keep playing.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
I think I've experienced that one before on that too. I don't know if there's a setting or if it's because it's members only premium stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anytime I subscribe to anybody's anything on YouTube, I do it through my Brick Dynasty account
Yeah, yeah.
because I know that show is consistently longer. I want to be able to shut the screen off, and
Oh yeah.
my personal account is the one with premium.
So if we turn that into a
So
podcast, you'd be fine.
I would be fine.
Um,
Yep.
yeah. So I have a members only channel,
Yep.
or members only. I don't know, part of my channel. Uh, YouTube shut down my ability to make revenue
Yep.
because they were like, you can't do this and you can't do this. Here's the help. Here's a link to help, and you click on the link to help, and it's like, oh yeah, but you have to get a PIN number, and then you click on the thing to get the PIN number. It's like, oh, you need to go out and get help to turn your thing back on. And I'm like, okay, infinite loop of nothing help, no help at all. So I wish I was better at this, but I wish I was doing more with that. So hopefully nobody got charged because they said they weren't going to charge anybody for the memberships.
I did get a notification that was going to happen. That
I
we were
would
not going to get charged until.
Oh, good. I'm glad
things
nobody
get
got
straightened
charged for
out.
that because I'm certainly not getting the revenue. I hope they're not taking it and keeping it
Well,
themselves.
I was happy to pay for it. So if you bring that back, I will look forward to
One
that.
day I might get that figured out.
All right.
I honestly, I spend like 3 hours trying to figure out how to fix YouTube. I'd rather spend that 3 hours cataloging. Like I'm more productive, to be honest with you. But I am not just a brick in the bucket. I am not skilled like Ralph. Ralph puts so much time into those videos. God bless him for wanting to do that. It's a passion of his. It's not because he's making a ton of revenue. He is passionate about sharing the story, being with community, stuff like that. He does it for his personal reasons, not because he's a living off of YouTube. So if he quit enjoying it, you'd probably see it decline. But now he's got this membership base. He's also committed to the membership base and giving them content that he thinks that they need and deserve, and they're paying for.
Yep. It's good value there. So, yep, absolutely worth signing up because there are some people watching here tonight. So yeah, guys, go do that.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's every penny that I put into his membership.
They like me there.
But
Yes, Ralph, very much. All right. Okay, so we'll get wrapping up here because it is getting late. You've been on here for a while, which I really appreciate. One last question. Somebody's watching this and they're thinking of starting a store. What advice would you give them going in? Would you tell them not to even bother, or would you say, here's 3 steps or whatever?
I wouldn't say don't bother. I would say get to know yourself really well. Are you doing it? What's your motivation behind doing it? Are you looking to make quick dollars? Are you looking to have community? Are you looking to have something that you can put some time into and get some quality from and feel satisfied from doing work? Some people have Lego stores. Montana Bricks is a great example. She loves Lego. She loves community. She loves working with the parts. She likes sorting. Her store has not always been as successful as she wants it to be, but sometimes she kind of has to check herself and say, okay, this is not just the reason I'm doing it is because I get good sales and always have these great successes. This is like, there's more than those reasons. So you need to know yourself and the reason for your getting into it. If you watched my videos and you saw my store, you came to visit my store and be like, I want one of those. And I'm like, well, get ready for giving up a lot of time, personal life, finances. I have poured a lot into this business. I still, I'm not a debt. I don't have a lot of debt, but I worked and put my own money into making this thing happen. And I really kind of have no idea if I paid myself back yet or not. I guess if I really wanted to figure it out, I could. But you need to know your motivation behind doing it. Are you doing it to be number one? Are you doing it because you like Lego? But if you like community, if you like good people, I think that is right there. I think that'd be a great reason to do it. How many times have, I don't know if this has been an occurrence with you, but you'll do a video like this and somebody in your video will be like, how do I get started with Bricklink? And you'll get all kinds of people will be like, let me show you. And then the last question's like totally noob type questions, and people will sit there and help them get their star going,
Yep.
Nobody's going to do that with all, other brands of products, stuff like that. I mean, there's so much great community here among sellers and people who want to get into selling. The sharing of tools. Now, grant you, there's a few secrets that we need to keep for ourselves. But the operational things about how you run a store, but that moment you get the question, it's like, well, where do you get your Lego? And I was like, the same place everybody else gets it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I would say go for it, but understand what's your motivation. Why are you doing it? That way if you're being successful or not.
Don't calculate your hourly wage.
Oh man, don't do that. I set my team. I wrote some software for my contractors so they can track their hours and I know what to pay them. And I put myself in there, and nope, I don't clock my hours. I quit doing that. That was a little, yeah, because
Yep.
I'd be clocking in and out about 4 or 5 times per day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wildly discouraging. Yep. I learned that one.
Yeah, but there's a lot of satisfaction from running these stores and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you would do it if you weren't, passionate about organization and the packing the perfect order for a customer and the excitement that they get for the work that you did. I mean, we get wonderful messages from our customers. I'm buying this for my stepson who is in the hospital right now, and I'm just so excited to be able to give it to him. Those are things that we print out and we put on our bulletin board down at the warehouse, and I just share these stories. It just encourages everybody to keep going. Um, yeah, I love the Lego stories behind people. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. It's amazing. Everybody in the community, or not everybody, every area in the community is great.
Hmm.
Everybody's got an oddball, but I mean,
Hmm.
like you said, I mean, you're not going to sell an action figure on Amazon, and get a thank you letter.
Yeah.
But selling Lego, you can do that,
Hmm.
and feels real good.
Hmm.
Feels real
Yeah,
good.
if you get to be one of the really big sellers, you start to get thank you notes for having so many parts. They're like,
Wow.
I have never seen a store with so many parts and variety. You've made it possible for me to go to one place and buy all my parts. And I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, cool, another success.
Yeah.
That's the
And
goal.
yep. And they saved a ton of money in shipping.
Oh well, if you spend enough, you'll get it for free.
Yeah. I mean, I learned very quickly because I don't know what I shopped on Bricklink for 3 or 4 years prior to selling on there. And
Okay.
you get 10 or 15 carts full. And next thing you know, you're $75 deep just on shipping charges. It's
Mm.
like, but I only needed a couple dozen parts. So you start learning to pad out your carts and do better. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but that is directly related to one of our strategies about how we try and capture those large want lists. If I wish I could know when people were making those want lists, or I could see the want lists. If I could see people's want lists, and you can actually see them. You can actually see how many things are in people's carts or want lists.
yeah,
But if I could see, like, here's a customer that has a want list that's already established and you have 75% of their want list, and here's the 25% that you don't have, I'm going to be able to actually target that 25%. Will be refined. That we're actually kind of there today. I could refine myself to say, all right, I will add that remaining 25% and get 100% of their want list, but I don't know what's in those want lists. Um, but if Bricklink was to share that kind of data, that would actually start to shift things around to saying, all right, how can I capture more business by keeping, uh, knowing what's in those unfulfilled want lists for my specific store.
huh.
So,
And then you
but I
could be
don't think
more
that'll ever.
specific with your sourcing methods,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think that'll ever happen. Want lists change so much, and even if they did share that data with me, wouldn't they have to share it with everybody so that everybody would know how to capture those sales? So
Yeah,
it would create a lot of drive that way. But that was I think I've taken it out of my terms because Bricklink has kind of been cracking down on links inside of their messaging system. But I used to send a brick, no, Survey Monkey link to people to kind of say, how did we do? Did you satisfy your want list? And we were actually above the 75 percentile on how many customers were satisfied or were driven to our store based off their want list, and they got 100% of that want list satisfied. We were in the
wow,
75 percentile for those people that filled out the survey, which was probably only about 10% of our customers, but
it's still pretty good.
yeah.
How much of Bricklink do you think shops purely from wanted lists? It's got to be very high, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think so because other than Brickzar, goes out and builds a cart manually. I mean,
Maybe
you build
no.
your carts manually.
Yeah,
You,
no.
you
Well,
so you'll so if you went to my store, do you know how many pages you have to scan through? Or I guess you could search for the parts, but you'd have to scan through page after page after page in order to find all the parts in my store.
yeah. Well, what I do is I build a wanted list to start
Oh,
with.
oh, okay.
And then I'll open it up and I won't have it select anything. I'll just kind of look through who's got what of what. And then I'll look at their store and I'll say, okay, well, they have a bunch of my wanted list. What other things do I need? And then I'll start going through their store and seeing, what little gaps I have to fill here and there, if their prices are any good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play around like that.
Well, if any customer shops like I do, so if I'm looking to source a part, like the brown cup that we were talking about, I add that to, I need this part. Somebody on my team has a list that he maintains of parts that he's looking for to complete sets, just like any customer would have a list of things they're looking to complete sets. But now I've got this other one. So based on that first part, I'm going to buy that. But if I can find a store that has other parts from my other want lists, I'm more motivated to purchase from that store. So this is a behavior that can't be common to me. It's got to be common among a lot of people who are kind of trying to complete sets, or just trying to find the best value on things. Um, you know, Shopping via want list is so powerful because you can also base it off of you just want new or used. You can say only with under this price, this quantity of things. It is the most powerful shopping tool that's going to bring in a lot of sales. Yeah, so if we could get more insights to what's in these want lists, that people are looking for, then we can start to capture more of those sales.
Yeah. Yeah. Wanted list shopping with manuals, instruction manuals in there is a terrible experience.
Oh,
Terrible.
because of all the comments?
All of the comments, and the worst of the comments is manual 2 only.
Yeah.
I can
Yep.
handle a little bit of damage. A little bit of damage is fine as long as
Yeah.
everything's there. But I want both books. Don't tell me it's the best price or whatever and put it in my cart and then tell me it's only one of the books. What good does that do me?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Or maybe shopping for sets and it's like no minifigs. People are allowed to
Yep.
sell sets that are used with no minifigs.
Yep.
Yeah, they really need to fix that. They really, if you're watching this Bricklink, you really need to work on that. You would improve the seller's ability to list good products or proper products, and for customers to get what they're that's been listed. Because you gave us the ability to do the comments, that's what they're for, but we're not translating. It's not getting communicated to the customers unless they're looking through every single page of their whole store. If I shop via want list and that's all I did, and you built an auto buy button into the cart so that I could quickly purchase my parts, there's not only one type of part, there's parts with certain terms and conditions or comments.
Yep.
Yeah, they should really build that in.
That would be nice.
That's a whole, they really, I don't know if there's a new version or coming or not, but I really think there should be a whole rebuild on Bricklink. But I do wonder if that would actually slow sales down while people get used to the new system.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would make customer service a little bit easier, I think. And I don't know. From what I've seen of Bricklink for the little bit I've been on the seller side, it seems like all they do is just tie up like 3 hours or 2 hours in the middle of the night for some mysterious thing that we never see, and then
when they shut down.
Yeah.
Oh, they're cleaning their database.
Yeah, but they don't seem to do anything that really benefits us much at any point.
Oh no, it's not for us. They have ancient software that has to be cleaned and shut down while it's cleaned. So that means that they disconnect everything from touching their database. They go and clean it up because their system is so old. We've come so far from having to do that. I used to maintain IT systems, and we used to have to do that. And we were trying to find, where's the quiet window? I don't have a quiet window. I need a 12-hour quiet window. Sunday. Maybe nobody's going to work on Sunday. And then you find somebody who starts early in Australia and they're working on Sunday. It's like, where's the database?
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't know. They're a plastic manufacturer, basically. So I'll cut them a little slack. They're not really a tech company.
Oh, well,
But
they
also,
inherited all this. Yeah, they inherited
yeah.
all this when they bought Bricklink, and they just haven't put any of their billions behind updating it yet.
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you, hey, I got a question for you, though. I know you wanted to end it, but I do have a good question.
Yep.
What is your thoughts on the merging of the user IDs that is coming up in September?
I'm a little concerned, and I need to read into it a little bit more because I have many Lego accounts.
Oh,
So I mean, they're all under different email addresses. So I need to see exactly how that's going to impact me,
okay.
if at all. How many? Two under my name. I don't know, whatever. But I have enough, and it's so you have the one for Lego and two for Lego and one for Bricklink, and they're all different email addresses. So I might have to do some consolidating, some paying attention there.
What do you think the motivation behind Lego doing that is? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
I think a lot of it is going to be keeping the third party market under control a little bit.
Mm.
For the people, like the reason I have multiple accounts, for the people who say, okay, well, I want to have this account for buying for personal, for gifts or whatever. And then I want to have this account that I can use for investing in stuff and, keep your business and your personal separate. And then Bricklink is its own thing. So you can track your expenses in different portions of your business.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they say, okay, well, everybody's getting dialed into, you can only have one email address, then it's very easy for them to enforce, oh, we said quantity limit 5. Don't screw around. Don't do that against 5 different email accounts. You're doing it out of the one, which I think is actually a smart move on their part if they're really against, scalping, which I don't like the term much because I think they use it improperly, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, so if 90% of the accounts on Bricklink are not store sellers and it's just consumers, it's going to affect mostly people who are just consumers and not sellers of the product, right?
So I wonder about that though, because the people who are consumers, I think, are probably already using the same information either way.
Right.
So if that's the case and they're already, same email, John at Gmail at both, right? Then there's no point in consolidating anything because it's already the same thing in both spots.
How many? So if Bricklink had 2 million customers,
Yeah.
and Bricklink is kind of niche and old software, and maybe not the easiest thing to work with, and been buying off of Lego.com with their pick a brick wall. From what I understand, people don't always like that experience either.
Mm-hmm.
But if they take those 2 IDs, that this ID of buying pick a brick wall over here and this other ID over here buying Bricklink, and we merge the 2, it would make sense to me that at some level they also want to merge that experience of Lego.com and Bricklink.com purchases of product.
Isn't that a different thing though? Because merging member profiles and merging site experience, I think, are 2 different things, right?
It is, but they're giving them they're taking one user ID, the same user ID for both now, right?
So maybe I'm misunderstanding what they're trying to do.
They're changing everybody's Bricklink user ID. You have to have that same user ID on Lego.com.
Okay. So good. We are talking about the same thing. I just naturally think email, not user ID. But yeah, I guess that's what's happening there. But if they're trying to have the same experience between Bricklink and Lego, they should be more focused on like part IDs, not user IDs. Leave all our email addresses and all that stuff alone. Let me just go to the pick a brick section of lego.com and actually look up things in Bricklink colors or part numbers or whatever. I don't want to see all these weird colors on Lego that don't exist in Bricklink. It's really annoying. Like, I don't know what is it? Stone gray, I think is the term they use.
Same one they use on Brick Owl.
Yeah, stop that. I want everything on Bricklink to be what it is.
I think it's going to
On
go the
Lego.
other direction. I think you're going to go in the direct.
Yeah. Well, if that's how it goes, as long as it sticks, I'll adapt. That's fine. I would rather have consistency in a direction I don't like than have no consistency at all.
Okay.
Because I can adapt, I can learn.
So I think that you've really kind of hit on something of what Lego's trying to actually do. I think they want consistency between Lego.com and Bricklink.com, but they still want an element of uniqueness to Bricklink, especially when you're buying a set that was done through the design program. Because remember, we established that they're not a plastic seller, they're a set seller. They have nothing of value if it's not for the sets themselves, right? We do. We have a lot of value because we're selling individual bits. But if Lego tried to sell individual bits and didn't have sets, they'd be no more successful than we were, or we can be. So I think they're trying to keep some of that unique. If you took a design set from Bricklink and you put it over available on Lego.com, I think you start to lose something. But am I wrong? Is that not available today? You can't do that. You have to buy through Bricklink to get those special sets, those design program sets, and they're limited quantity and everything that goes along with that. Well, that was the whole reason for buying Bricklink, is because that was successful when Bricklink was not owned by Lego. They basically have been able to establish a new market for sets, is what they really sell, that they don't have to have a design team themselves doing. They just have to be able to satisfy sets that they can produce, because that's actually what their molds are working on right now. They have the molds and the colors that are being produced right now for sets. So that's why the design program has some constraints to it. But if you merge the two, then eventually you're going to get a customer from Lego.com discovering Bricklink and, oh, I didn't know it was so easy to buy these other unique sets. And you're going to get customers on the Bricklink side, like you, that says, oh, now you've simplified buying it from the pick-a-brick wall, because those things are in production right now. I don't think that they're trying to come after me as an individual. There's just way too many elements that I have. But if I was in the new market, I think I might be a little bit of a risk. Maybe at the volume levels and the discounts that high volume sellers can produce. And there's so many limits of what Lego puts on that kind of production too. So I don't know. This is some of my theories, but the merging of those user IDs starts to blur or even remove the lines of people who were only buying on Bricklink or only buying on Lego.com. You now have one source. And then I think eventually you're going to log on. It's going to be like, do you want to go to Bricklink or do you want to go to Lego? But they're going to be one place you log on to.
Yeah. When was it? Sometime fairly recently, as far as I've noticed anyway. Lego started selling more parts in pick-a-brick that go to IP-based sets, which I found surprising.
Oh, really? Like print and stuff like that?
the sails for Jabba's sail barge you could
Yeah.
buy through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were pricey, but they were there. Um, the Endurance, I guess, isn't technically IP. Well, yeah, I guess it is. I guess they had to lease the rights to the name. All of the sales for the Endurance ship you can get on Pick a Brick.
Interesting.
I don't think there is anything in that set as far as exclusive parts that you can't get through Pick a Brick for printed tiles, whatever else. I'm fairly certain all of that is available on there. So if you want the Endurance, I don't whatever that thing was, 330 or something,
Yeah.
you dump $50 on the sales and a couple of printed pieces and source all the rest used. I mean, sourcing used is still expensive, but I mean, if you have half of the common parts at home to fill in some of the blanks, you can get the Endurance for $140 or something. It's a way better deal. It's a lot more work.
Yeah.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see what happens to the customer base once this thing goes live in September. I don't know that anything will happen right as soon as September, but they're opening up doors that give them the opportunity to do future things.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how people start freaking out. Actually, I wonder. I'm not deep enough into the Bricklink world. Is there a message board or some
Yeah.
like
It's
bitching
old, it's
department over there?
antiquated, and it's in there. And I'm sure I haven't looked in the forums for a long time. There's so much data in there, and you basically have to read every single message. There's no real good search mechanism. There is, but it's kind of old and not really up to date. And depending on how somebody replies to a message, sometimes you get a message reply with everything in the entire chain. It's kind of just old and it's nasty.
Brutal.
There is definitely something in there, I guarantee it, if you were to go to read the forums. But it's also just a lot of just ideas and thoughts and not a lot of insights that are fact-based.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could start watching Reddit. Reddit's a cesspool too.
Yeah, Reddit's a little bit easier to filter down, but yeah, I still struggle with filtering through Reddit. But I'll never forget, I think it was Ralph, and he was like, "You made it to a Reddit comment, man. People hate you," or something like that. Somebody said, "What is up with this great Brick Lab and his crazy prices? He's got to be totally scamming everybody. There's no way he has that many parts. He's not real." And there must have been about another 100 comments after them. I was like, "Nope, he's legit. You got to see his videos on YouTube, man. This guy is crushing it." And there was so many people coming to my defense
That's awesome.
on this person trying to badmouth me, talking about community. I mean, even people, there's like, "I've never bought from Great Brick Lab, but man, I'm telling you what, if I had to, I would just go all after it." It was so much fun. That was a few years back, but
That's funny. I wonder where that was. Was that in whatever, I could say it on here. Lego Circle Jerk. Was it in that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't sound familiar to me. I think it was some kind of a Bricklink.
Funny over there. They're brutal. They are brutal, but there's a lot of funny stuff that comes up over there. It's all just shit talkers and people letting off steam and too many idiots, but some of it's actually really funny.
It's probably why I've never really spent time in there. No, some type of a Bricklink circle or something like that. I can't remember what the name it was. I don't even know if I want to. Did Ralph put something in there? Oh, just a regular old Bricklink one, Reddit Bricklink.
That's too simple. Nothing's ever that easy.
Yeah, no. Somebody told me about it, and I went and I looked at it, and then like I was going to work that morning, and I was like, "Oh man, somebody's beating me up." And by the end of the day, I came back and I read it, and I was never doing. That's what got me started on Reddit. Somebody said you should look at Reddit, and then by the end of the day, there's like 100 comments of people just coming to my defense and saying, "Nope, you don't get to say that about Great Brick Lab because those guys they're really doing a good job."
That's awesome.
It was good. It was a good moment. Yeah, it was a good moment because I didn't know that people would actually come to the defense of us because I agree. I had a guy, I'm so sorry for continuing to ramble on. I had a guy be like, "You have every dinosaur that I want on my brick list, my want list on Bricklink," and uh, and it's like 15 dinosaurs, right? And they're all. I mean, he's like, "I can't find anybody else who's got all these dinosaurs," and he goes, "How about like 50% off?" And I'm like, "What? What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I want all those dinosaurs, but I can't afford it." And I'm like, what is your situation? He's like, "Well, I mean, I could get them in other places, but you got them all." And I'm like, "Well, there's a reason I have them all.
Yeah.
It's called strategy, buddy." And he goes,
Yeah.
"But you're not going to discount them?" I was like, I'd give you 10% off. I'd give you 10% off coupon. I'd never turn anybody away from a coupon." And he
Yeah.
goes, he's like, "But it's still too high." And I'm like, "Well, you got to make your choices, man."
Yeah. That's a lot of dinosaurs.
Oh, that's what happens when you price like we do. They stick longer. They don't sell quite as fast, but when they do sell, you're celebrating because you're getting 350% over the 6 month average.
Yeah.
And
That's a meaningful sale. Yeah.
well, yeah, and I would say, you know, more than 25% of the things that we sell are the new 6 month maximum.
Wow.
Happens all the time. If I look at an order, there's usually one or two parts in there. And I'm not one to say, look how much I ripped off people. It's an open free market.
Yeah.
There is no reason for them to buy at these prices unless they have said that there's a value to doing what we do to get what they want. And we stand behind every single piece that we ship. But if they're willing to pay that much, but then that's how much value there is. Like they said, you can have all these great collectibles and all these great materials in your house and saying, "Look at all this great value I got." But if you've put money into it and nobody else is willing to give you $1 for it, then what's it really worth?
Yeah.
People are telling me every single day that our prices are somewhat in alignment. Now, we don't get as many sales. I think, yeah, definitely. The first time we raised our prices, our sales went way down. Some customers were like, "I had a shopping cart and now my shopping cart is $80 and it was like 35 yesterday. What happened?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. You gotta capture the market when the timing is right." And that happened too. Also, the last couple of months, I got multiple emails of people saying my shopping cart just blew up. And but yeah, I think close to 80% of the people who shop on Bricklink are just laughing at my prices and saying, "I will never buy from that guy. He is way overpriced." And that is an absolutely fair comment. I do not deny that we are up that. But if I try to price appropriately, well, look what happened in June and July. I could barely keep up. I have to price this way. I've got this never-ending cycle. If I lower my prices too low, I'm going to go out and buy a new Toyota or something. I got to do something with all that money coming in. But yeah, I cannot sustain that, so I have to keep those prices high. But then I feeds in all these parts that never sell. That feeds into more of it, and then eventually somebody says, "Oh, fine, I'll buy it," and I'll pull the funds out of something to make this sale because I need this many pieces. And like you were saying, if I was to shop at 15 different stores to get those ports, I'm already going to spend an additional $75 in shipping, and I'm getting it free from him because he's got his free shipping policy. So
Yeah.
that's if I was to encourage you, if you're doing anything, Ken, that's what I would encourage you to do is fill your drawers, raise your prices, maximize your space. Your orders will be slow enough, but every order that goes out the door is just that much more worth your time. And then you'll have more time for loading parts, filling up those drawers. And then once you hit a capacity level where it's like, I don't have any more room to fill drawers, have a sale for a week, empty out some drawers, bring in some great revenues, um, you know, reap the harvest of that hard work, and then slow it down again. And then, start filling those drawers again. If I was to do anything to encourage you, that would be it. You actually slow down your workload, but you have to spend more time loading parts. You're basically, maybe 25% shipping orders and the rest of that time spent filling drawers.
No. We're getting. We need to log all the drawers that we already have full. That's the big objective. We got to do that one first. We're getting close. I don't even have the section behind me completely listed yet, but
Yeah.
that's a focus at the moment.
Yeah, maybe I will come and visit you. I have it in mind that when my children get a little bit more apt for travel, that I want to visit many of the stores that I've shared community with. So I'd love to come out. But as far as the barcodes are concerned, I think you could knock out barcodes in less than an hour, and you'd have barcodes printed for your first couple of cabinets, and you'd be rocking it. So it'd be now adding the remarks for every part. That if you don't have any remarks today on your parts, that might take a little bit more time if you're adding all those remarks by scanning those drawers. But you could do it.
Okay. Yes, because we'd have to go into every piece we have listed and tell it where it is, right?
Yeah. You have the understanding of where things are at. You probably would structure yourself. I would probably just barcode the entire wall and then finish the barcoding and then go back and kind of, or maybe one section, maybe one acre at a time, barcode the whole acre, and then, get that whole thing remarked, updated as you move along. But I wouldn't continue to add drawers without remarks. I would have remarks ready to go with your barcodes on those drawers as you're adding new parts, so you can kind of get a feel for what it's like on the new as you add parts. You're going to be doing it because you use Brickstore to add your parts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, just use a barcode scanner, fill in the remarks column for those drawers that you're adding, and it'll build right into Bricklink. It's all made to be pretty simple and easy work.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess now's the time before we get too much further in this adventure.
You would be glad you did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, so my desk is typically on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
It's I just slide over here because my desk lives in my living room, so it's better over here. Without my desk there, I'm spying a spot where I can fit like 6 more units, but it's only because my desk isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I redesigned my Lego store in the basement so many different times. So many of them didn't work, and then I got one that finally worked. And then they asked for a hole in the wall. Oh, that made me laugh so hard. He was like, "We want to get to the other side without having to go all the way around. Can you put a hole right here?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I sat there and I stared at that wall for an hour, and I was like, "Oh, I can do this, but I got to take all of these cabinets down and rebuild that entire wall." And then all of a sudden, the walls were coming down, and I just did it, and they were so happy about that hole in the wall. Oh man, I've redesigned things so many times.
well, I mean, I guess if it keeps up the workflow and makes everything move in the right direction, it's worth it. But
Yeah, it definitely does. It does, yeah.
it takes a lot of time to recoup the expense of time. I've noticed that's a real thing.
Well, if you ever do get people who work with you, the changes you make impact them. So you just can't go inside your store and start just making changes and then saying, "All right, it's going to work." But then you got to communicate that to your people, and they're going to be like, "Why did you change things? It was fine the way it was. I don't want to change. Change it back."
Yeah. Well, we won't be having anybody work in-house anytime soon. I got a 3 and an 8-year-old that bomb around here. So try to keep new people away from them. They're actually pretty well. My 8-year-old is becoming a pretty good worker. She's
Yeah,
an ace at sorting now, which helps.
and it does help a lot. It does help a
And
lot.
she works for Lego.
Hmm.
100 pieces an hour is her pay. It's a good deal. Yep.
That's great pay for. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she works for new Lego though, and we only sell used. So she's going into the investment inventory.
Oh, I see how you're doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so depending on how big the set is and how many pieces are in that set, there's your pay. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So if she wants a 250 piece set, she's going to work for 2.5 hours to get it.
I've never heard that one before, but that seems like it would work really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a random choice. She wanted some Minecraft set, and I was trying to figure out how to explain it to her because she doesn't know anything about money. We're still trying to teach that, but she also just doesn't care. So it's like, okay, well, instead of explaining it in dollars, we'll explain it in pieces. So we went that route. Because I've never seen a kid that cares less about money, not motivated by it at all, doesn't need things, doesn't want things. She likes spur of the moment, stupid stuff. I mean, she's a kid, but she is very Lego motivated. But, all right. Well, we're closing in on 3 hours now, which is awesome. I could probably talk to you all night, but I also need to sleep. So,
Okay. All right then.
but man, this has been fantastic. It's been great hanging out with you tonight. Thank you so much, everybody in chat. It's been great to see you guys. You're the best. Next week we have on Brent from Brent's Bricks, the other half of ACOB. Sean was in here earlier. He was on last week. So yeah, everybody, thank you for hanging out. Chris, thank you again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
I will see you somewhere at some point, probably in the comments somewhere.
All right.
All right. Thank you again. Good night, everyone. Off we go.
Thank you.